All right, guys.
I've walked for miles in this pit of danger.
Dun, 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 dun. Welcome to the very first ever Too Sweet Wrestling Podcast. I'm JC.
My name is Jordan Little, also known as JMANzLegit. And this has also been 10 years since the passing of the Macho Man Randy Savage, one of the greatest Intercontinental Champions of all time, and one of the greatest World Wrestling Federation Champions of all time. Better than Hogan and better than Ultimate Warrior. Ooh, yeah.
What up, you guys? It's Chase, and no, I will not show my belt. I still feel like shit after the past few days, but definitely next time. And we also got to my right or left. I went to a crappy
directions, do ya?
I went to a crappy high school. Don't blame me for that. I went to San Antonio High.
Wait. You're left or right? So which part of politics are you a part of?
Oh, Lord.
I don't know. Like I said, I went to a crappy high school, so I don't know left from right.
That's why you do your research online, dude.
Oh, no, they haven't taught me to read.
That's a bullshit excuse.
Should be good enough.
And I would introduce myself, but I'm so free and messed up mentally, I don't remember my own damn name.
And I wish I could say it, but then again, you'd be going crazy.
Oh, yeah, I need a reminder of my own identity.
No, but this is the first time I've ever seen you with a Winged Eagle belt.
That's actually...
This is the Big Eagle, not Winged Eagle.
Big Eagle, that's what I said, I think.
It's so funny. It's so funny that, you know, like you say that you need your own identity. Well, here's the thing. You can't remember it. Well, there's always a thing called a name tag.
I would if I knew how to write on one or knew how to spell on it.
It's like SpongeBob going, I lost something I can't live without. My identity.
Oh, God.
Zach's one of those people that just doesn't want to wear a name tag, or if he does wear a name tag, he's just going to say, fuck you.
Or he'll just say, hello, I'm stupid.
Oh,
Right?
yeah. Oh,
Hello, I'm horny.
or like, hello, I'm from Hogwarts.
Oh, Hogwarts. Oh, expecto patronum.
Anyway.
All right, so, guys, tomorrow night, AEW's All Out. What are your guys' thoughts?
So far, do we have the whole match card?
What are your thoughts heading in? Expectations?
Oh, AEW All Out. I thought it was called AEW Pull Out.
Well, you should know.
How would I know?
How would
Don't
you
make
know?
me come up there.
You stay down there.
Double D's actually not afraid to leave his house anymore.
Oh, God.
Fear the madness.
So,
No, I think for the match card, I think for the first start of the match, well, do you believe it's going to be CM Punk versus Darby Allin as the main event, or will it be the championship match?
I have a feeling they might do one or the other. I think they might do Darby and Punk as a double main event midway through.
Something happened.
I've been split in half.
Kind of like your life has been split in half.
Well, better than my balls.
All right.
Your balls have feelings too, Zach.
So
Yeah, I know. They're very sensitive.
I think they might give us a midway through. They might do a co-main event because it's Punk's first match back. So that could be like a double main event. They'll treat that as like a midway through. Because, there are like 10 matches on the card. And just an update, the Andrade Pac match is actually not happening as far as I was to be told. Something to do with Pac. They didn't give too much update on that.
Yeah, it appears that Pac is going through some travel issues, so that's why he's not going to be appearing at All Out, tomorrow.
Now, are they travel issues or are they travel issues? Because there's rumors that Cole might show up and Daniel Bryan. So maybe they could throw a curveball and have one of them step in to face Andrade, maybe.
I don't know. It could be a possibility, meaning at the end of the day, there has been reports that Daniel Bryan could be coming to All Elite Wrestling, in regards to the recent rumors that have been. I mean, Punk's, in AEW, so why not Bryan Danielson or the American Dragon? I mean, because he's either going to go by those two names.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Another match that's kind of interesting right now is Jericho versus MGF.
Yeah, that is. I'll pull up the match card so that way we can be caught up to speed. Like,
yep, bro. I already got
Apparently,
you.
if Jericho loses, he has to retire.
Yeah, you say there's 10 matches. Technically there is, but however, there's only one match on the pre-show, which is known as the buy-in pre-show. But but on the main show, there's only 9 matches. Now, after doing some research myself and actually discovering something called, when it comes to main events, the show, when a show closes, when it comes to pay-per-views, and this is for pay-per-views only, not for, for wrestling TV shows. When a wrestling pay-per-view closes, they have 3 main events, not just 2 or just 1. But the real main event is the one that closes the show. What I'm talking about is a thing called triple main event, which is called the quarter main event, the semi-main event, and main event spot. God dang it, Ulysses.
You're making me get split in half, you bastard.
Well, it could be worse. But either way, so the quarter main event, as we all know, is the match before 2 matches before the main event. The semi-main event is the match before the main event, and we all know the main event. It's the last match of the card. Now, last time CM Punk was in a match, it's obvious. He was, in a quarter main event at WrestleMania 29 when he failed to beat The Undertaker. Now, the last match, technically, he was in regards to pay-per-views, and people can say whatever they want that it's not a main event match. I don't care. As long as it's the final match of the card, it's the main event. So, with that being said, the last main event he was in the Royal Rumble 2014, but ever since then, Punk has always, dreamed of being in the main event of one of the big 4, and WrestleMania was the main one for him. So, if I'm a betting man, and I'm not, I'd go with him being the main event of tomorrow night for All Out, because it's a good way to close off the pay-per-view and for the fans to go home happy. Because if there's one thing I know the fans will not go home happy with is someone like Kenny Omega winning the title, but then again, their reaction wouldn't be nearly as good if Christian were to somehow win the title.
Hey, what's going on, Jester? Yeah, because I think they would do CM Punk in the main event to close the show. The reason for a couple things: 1, to troll WWE, to say, hey, you know what, this guy is the main event. 2,
and a draw.
2, it's CM Punk. I mean, he's one of the greatest wrestlers in the world. Then that's just not a moniker. Despite what others may say, Punk has always been a professional wrestler. Indies, even in the WWE, even if they sucked his life force out over there, he's always been pro wrestler. He's always been a pro wrestler. He never considered himself a sports entertainer. And I think having him close the show, especially being in his hometown of Chicago, it's going to be an overall great experience for not only us as wrestling fans, the people in attendance, and, to troll the hell out of WWE, saying, hey, you know what? You guys had this guy for how many years, and you never let him close out a pay-per-view. So we're going to let him close out our pay-per-view.
The only time Punk could ever close out a pay-per-view was if it were on rare occurrences.
What's up, David?
First time he ever did was at, and I think this is legit. Now ECW December to Dismember, that does not count. But as far as I'm concerned, the one he did at SummerSlam 2009 with Jeff Hardy, that TLC match, that was good. But ever since after that, there was only rare occurrences whenever he'd be the main event and close out a pay-per-view, especially when he was WWE champion. Because during his reign, as great as it was in regards to the longevity of it was garbage. Because he was barely in the main event in any of the pay-per-views, and the only time he ever was if John Cena was in for the title match, or then again John Cena wasn't part of the pay-per-view booked for a match.
Yeah, like TLC 2011.
Yeah, or even Night of Champions 2012, or Hell in a Cell, Survivor Series. That was it. And then he couldn't wrestle at TLC because his knee was effed up a little bad. But he was able to wrestle Ryback in a TLC match on Raw, which was kind of interesting because you don't rarely see a TLC match on WWE program that much. But then there was that one time when he main events Royal Rumble 2013, which ended his run, which to me is pretty much a travesty in most cases. In regards to his career.
Yeah, they definitely misused him a lot over there towards his end. They definitely misused him a lot. Oh, feedback. And I think even the last like year or two of his run over there, he was getting hurt left and right because Vince was just pushing him so hard. There was that podcast he did a while back when he got let go, and he talked about how his knee was hurt and he had to wrestle Ryback, and he got hurt even more. And I think
was it when he turned face, and then Paul Heyman betrayed him and all that?
Yeah. Right around there when he was facing Ryback and he said, I don't want to wrestle him. He's not safe. And they put him in the ring against Ryback regardless anyway. And then it was just really crazy because like he even said it in the podcast. He goes, I was sick. And he goes, I wanted time off. I needed time after my operation to get better. And Vince was like, oh, well, we're going on tour. We're going overseas. I need you. You're the champ. And it was like, and he goes, I will be back in time for us to go overseas. I need the time to take to get better to rest my knee. And they just wouldn't give him the time.
Oh, so you're referring to 2012. I thought you were referring to 2013 because Ryback did hurt him again.
Well, you guys remember the segments where Punk had hurt his leg and then they had that doctor come out and like showing off the knee, like the x-rays and shit.
It's like, even if they did give him time off, they always rushed him back. As like you've mentioned, that TLC match he had with Ryback, he was supposed to be out 4 to 6 weeks, and they rushed him back like 2 or 3 weeks. And he was concerned about it because they were like, oh, but we need you, pal. We got to get started with this feud with
You wanted to face Ryback and then all of a sudden have a pay-per-view match with The Rock.
It's like they're putting him in this high-risk match against an opponent who's known to be dangerous. Like Ryback, I don't care how many people say he's funny or anything, he's still known to be not the most trustworthy person in the ring in terms of safety with himself and whoever he goes against. So you're putting this high-risk match against a guy who's still recovering from knee surgery against this inexperienced guy who's had issues with, and you still want him to do this whole match. Like, you advertise match, you canceled it, yet you still made sure the match happened again anyway before he was ready. It's like, no, scrap the match, give Ryback something, and still at least you could have CM Punk do promos to still hype up stuff with The Rock. But don't keep making him get physical. Let him heal up because this is the guy who's straight edge. He's not taking anything to numb away the pain. He's dealing with this shit on his own. So he doesn't have anything to supplement the pain for it.
We're talking about Hell in a Cell 2012, right? Like during that time, or was it after that?
It was
a little bit afterwards, like when he had his injury because of TLC.
I thought we were heading into 2013 because he did face Ryback again in 2013, which
for New Year's,
kind of like switcheroo but different.
I think
it's like, I owe you one, pal. Go against Ryback.
That was the tables match for New Year's.
Yeah, I think he got hurt in that first match in the Hell in a Cell with Ryback, and that's when he was told that he had to face him again, and that's when Punk went to Vince and said, "Hey, I don't want to wrestle this guy. He is not safe. He hurt me, and I need to take a couple of weeks to get better."
The way you're coming off like that, it's almost as if you're making him sound like a child. Like, he hurt me. He hurt me.
No, but don't you think it would be better?
But I understand. I've seen the podcast, but I sympathize with Punk all the way, and I kind of agree with him that Ryback, Ryan Reeves, he is dangerous in the ring because, I mean, most other people when they have faced him, I mean, he's been okay, but when it comes down to him facing Punk, it's like as if he has a vendetta, like personal, not on screen, just off screen. You know what I mean?
Oh, dumb as fuck. I'm sorry.
So to talk about Punk versus Darby, I have so much in my mind going on about this match because they're setting this match up. It's going to be the most anticipated match because it's Punk's first match in 7 years. But I think they're hyping Punk up, but with them hyping Punk up, I think they're taking away from Darby because Darby has been there since pretty much day one. And he's going on this great run winning matches. I mean, my question is, are they going to give Punk, are they going to let Punk win and walk out of Chicago because it's his hometown? But then again, it's also Darby's hometown, if I'm not mistaken, as well. And then is there a way that is there an outcome to this match that can protect both Darby's build and Punk's return?
Darby, hate to cut you off. Darby's from Seattle, Washington.
Oh, is he? Okay, I thought he was from Chicago.
Well, that's where he's built from, but doesn't say officially
Do you
exactly.
believe that this match will stay 1-on-1 with no interference from anybody?
Well, here's the deal. I've checked the card and I don't see Sting's name on there. And Sting did say he wasn't going to interfere, so you can mark out, Sting off the card because.
But
Sting
somebody else might try to interfere.
They may, but here's the deal. I don't think there should be any interference at all from nobody, zip, nada, dick, nobody. Because the thing is, nobody at all. Because at the end of the day, this should be a match of the year candidate that that should be just them alone. No interference from the recent dickheads they've had to deal with on Dynamite and Rampage. Just Punk and Allin. No questions asked.
Hey, what's up, Mason? Welcome to the podcast, brother.
But at the same time, it feels like ending the match in a no contest would be the only way to protect both of them because it's going to be a bit of a no-win situation. Like if Punk wins, you're affecting Darby, but if Punk loses, you got all this hype up over his return to the ring for the first time in 7 years, just to have him lose his return match. So it's like, it almost seems like that's the only real way to try to get out of this without some kind of backlash.
To be honest with you, I don't think this would really hurt Darby, and I can tell you why from experience, because he has been in multiple major, match situations, and every time he's been in them, he always somehow gets a good push, afterwards, even if he loses. Like, the last time we saw a draw, he was facing Cody, and this was like during this was like Fyter Fest, if I'm not mistaken, 2019.
Yeah, I believe so.
Before the deal, it was official with TNT and Dynamite. Which, by the way, TNT should keep Rampage because that way they'd have an excuse to keep the TNT belt, as relevant, and they don't have to make a TBS championship if you catch my drift. But anyway, it's going to happen. Trust me, it will happen. Or they could just make a world television title altogether. I don't care. But
yeah, they need a TV title because you have the TNT title, but they need a television
TV championship. Which is a TV championship.
But it doesn't get defended on TV as much.
Well,
all the Dynamites and the Rampages that I've seen so far, I haven't seen the title been defended.
You raise a good point. Except when Cody was champion, he actually defended it a lot. It's like the John Cena with the U.S. title. But anyway,
all I care about is seeing a good match between those two.
The point is, the last time we saw Darby in a draw, in a match, Cody Rhodes, Fyter Fest 2019. To me, I don't want to see a draw between Punk and Allin. I don't care at this point, like who could win or lose. The one thing I care about is seeing a great match by two great competitors, and want them. And you know what? I am hoping to God, and as a religious man myself, a born-again Christian, I am hoping to God that these two steal the mother freaking show, and be the main event.
So do I.
This is a match that needs to be told. The story behind Punk's return 3 weeks ago. It's been off the hook. Everyone's been marking out. I've been marking out. My co-host from Rant and Rave podcast has been marking out. Everybody that I've known from A to Z has marked out about CM Punk returning. And the one thing they've been marking out the most is they want to see this match happen. And I'm looking forward to it. So for either Punk or Allin to win, it's a win-win situation for both men. Even if it kills off Punk's momentum, he could still bounce back.
For sure. Because he even said it. He even said it when he came back. He goes, "There's a whole bunch of people. There's a whole bunch of people in that locker room that he can have good matches with." And I'm just hoping that after this match with Darby, they don't try to push him too quick into the main event spot as far as for going for the AEW World Championship. Because I would like him to kind of work with build his way up because that's the one thing that I like about AEW is that a lot of the guys that I've seen so far go over there have gone in and actually had to work and get into contention for these shots. And it's just not like how it is over at the E's. Like, I haven't seen you in 3 years. We're going to give you a title shot, damn it. Like, you know what I mean? So, like you said, for the fans, it can go either way. Now that I look at it, but it's hard for me because I like both. And as you see, I'm wearing my Darby Allin t-shirt that I got with my Pro Wrestling Crate.
Mark.
You just got to bring them up right now.
So, but like I said, I mean, it's going to be a great match. It needs to be. It's going to be a 5-star. It's going to be match of the year. And again, like I said, I can't pick a clear winner because I like both, and I know that they're both going to go.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. However, I did make my predictions last night, during the AEW Rampage live reaction. I also titled it to be plus AEW All Out 2021 predictions. And it was actually during the entirety of the AEW countdown, which was after Rampage, which was only 30 minutes. But either way, now me and Brandon, we actually agree that we think CM Punk's going to win because, after all, now, like I said before, this ain't going to hurt Darby if he loses. I mean, he's already won matches, he's lost matches, and then if he loses, this ain't going to be a downfall for him. I mean, if anything, it'll give Darby good reason to keep bouncing back and being more hardcore and very good matches to, like, maybe one day become an AEW World Champion. I mean, who knows?
Glad to see that.
So
as for CM Punk, I think he'll probably take maybe a year at the best. Like, maybe next year at All Out, like, he'll probably go for the AEW World Championship.
I'd probably say double or nothing sometime next year.
Who knows? Who knows?
Double Z, your take?
I think the one thing I'm just wondering is, like, how easy is he going to readapt to being in the ring? Because, like I said, we know it's been 7 years since he's had a match. Makes you kind of wonder a little bit of how much ring rust he might have. Like, I'm sure he'll easily pick back up once he get back in the routine. It does sound like CM Punk winning would be the right idea, but like I said, if they want to protect it, it would be a no contest. But otherwise, if they can bounce back Darby Allin, then I would say give CM Punk the win. It's the match that's got the most attention other than the World Championship match that they've got put on the list. But hopefully CM Punk pulls out a big match, and hopefully this does at least elevate Darby Allin. Because, like, we've seen matches where you've got somebody who's a big name going against a smaller name, and even in defeat, they're still elevated. And maybe they could take this opportunity saying, hey, Punk and Darby had this amazing match, and Darby does not look bad at all, and it helps get him some hype afterwards. So
yeah, because, I mean, he's faced big names before Punk, and it doesn't. I mean, look at the AEW World Title match, the first one for Dynamite, the very first one for Dynamite, in regards to the AEW World Title defense. Him and Jericho. Darby and Jericho, okay? Even though Darby lost, it didn't do nothing. It didn't affect him. He still,
Fernando, welcome to the podcast.
He was still able to. He still was able to, bounce back and become, a champion. Like 1 year later, TNT champion. So this wouldn't affect Darby at all. I mean, he's been against bigger names, and yet he still manages to pull through.
Oh, for sure. And just for the guys, the guys in the chat. This is AEW, but we do talk a little bit of WWE. So, let's be friendly. We're a friendly group of people, friendly, environment, good vibes all around. All right. I don't want to see anyone getting into any verbal fights.
Just have a good time and don't
just
get
have
on
a
my
good
nerves
time
too
and
much.
chill.
I got enough dealing with freaking J-Man getting on my ass. Say, I feel sorry for your chair. I feel like it's being abused. Oh, God.
I feel sorry for your chair too.
Oh yeah, you fear for my chair's safety. Yeah, I feel you.
I'm calling the cops for
my dick because it goes to the most abuse out of everything here.
Let me repeat myself. I'm calling the cops for domestic abuse towards your chair.
Nothing's wrong, man. You took advantage of that shit.
It's really domestic if he's not.
I got mad and you fucking made fun of me live on the goddamn thing, man. You never apologized.
Chase, what are your
okay,
thoughts?
I'm sorry that you have to be such a really big hissy bitch fit on a live stream. Is that right?
Actually mean your apology or take it back. Oh.
Besides, I'm not the one. Well, I'm not the one who almost acted like I'm about to perform Suplex City on my chair.
Is Mary couple done fighting?
Yeah, they're done.
Yeah, we're done for the time being.
I didn't even notice when you changed your belt from the Big Eagle to the freaking spinner.
I need this damn thing, man. It is my symbol.
If you want to know a little trick that you can have to stop that freaking spinner from moving, you don't even have to unscrew or anything.
I'm not messing with this freaking belt. It spins. It's part of my intro, remember?
I know.
can't stay on my show. I'm the champ and spin it if it doesn't
I
spin.
know, but if there's a trick where you can actually stop it from spinning without unscrewing anything at all.
Yeah, and I'm not doing that.
So, Chase, what do you think about this match? What do you think of Darby versus Punk?
Well, like I said, this is a match right now that I'm really wanting to see, and I want to see, like I said, 7 years since Punk has not been in the ring. And like I said, after he left WWE, he had a lot to recover. He did have a couple of surgeries. His MMA training did help out a little bit, but he still had like some issues. But like I said, with this match, it's basically just to see how well he can still wrestle. Because like I said, 7 years. How old is he now?
I don't even know, to be honest.
He's
got to be pushing 40.
42.
I
42.
truly believe he's not as fast as he was before. He's got to have some limits on him. I truly believe that.
Well,
Age
but
does
I'm sure he can still give us a good match. I'm just looking forward to seeing a good match, whether he wins or loses, because that's what's really about.
Yeah, and it's also telling a story too, which is the main ingredient.
Yeah, I think this match is going to be a 5-star. Like I said, I'm really enjoying it. Looking forward to it. Like I said to you guys in the past, I've actually fallen in love with what I've been seeing with AEW. At first, I had a real sour taste in my mouth when they did their first ever Double or Nothing before they had the TNT contract. Lately, I've been watching a lot of a lot of Dynamite and
Wrong company.
Yeah, wrong company. I know, but I've also been watching some Impact as well. So, but I'm starting to learn the faces more. Darby was one of the first ones in AEW that I actually liked. I was like, yo, this guy's like, he's kind of like the Jeff Hardy of AEW. Like, he's very, he's like an enigma kind of, like, he's kind of like the outsider, the loner. And I think it was pretty cool. I think he was like one of the first guys that actually enjoyed watching. So, and now that I'm, you got Kenny and the Bucks, which I've followed since Japan, and ROH and stuff like that. So it's like I'm really interested in AEW now. So I'm actually, gonna put more time into it as much as I can. Final thoughts on this match before we move into the next one.
My final thoughts on the match is the fact that I don't think it's going to be one-sided regarding of who's getting the offense or defense. I think it's going to be like a good match, and to talk about Chase's theory regards to the limitations. I mean, I've seen wrestlers that are like older, like whether they were in their 40s from time to time, and they could still perform a good match regardless of. And plus, they can even go faster. I mean, when you look at Rey Mysterio, I mean, he still does well. I mean, despite how he's aged over the years.
Got
I mean,
all the knee surgeries and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's true. But however, in regards to Punk, he should be no exception either. I mean, but at the end of the day, I don't think it'll hold him back. I mean, look at Jericho. He's like in his 50s, and he's still, he's still going strong.
Did you guys watch that interview he had after he made his debut, where he answered questions and stuff?
Punk.
Yeah.
I did not see that.
I didn't watch that yet.
I was too busy doing something else. But at the end of the day, I'm gonna have to go with CM Punk for the win. Regarding to what's gonna happen, and I don't think it will ruin Darby's. It won't ruin him at all. It'll just help elevate.
Consider him as more as lucky that he's gonna be Punk's first opponent since he's come back.
Not to mention the last opponent Punk had before retirement. His first one was against Roman Reigns at Old School Raw. And that was a good one-on-one contest. The other matches, I'm sorry, they don't count.
My take is it can go either way for me. For me, it could go either way because I think at the end of the day, we're going to get a great match and it's going to be a treat for the fans. Definitely 5-star to send the crowd home happy. So I'm looking forward to it, and I can't wait to see what these guys can do in the ring with each other.
Yeah.
Another match that's on the card I want to talk about, kind of interesting. So Kenny Omega versus Christian Cage for the world title.
The AEW world title, you got to be more specific because the first time we thought they were actually having it early on AEW Rampage, but apparently that was for the Impact World Championship.
Well, isn't there only one world title in AEW?
Yes. It's the AEW World
yeah,
Championship.
It's good to have one world title, and like it's better than what WWE has. You got like 2 world titles, and they pretty much look the same. They just have a different color on each one. So,
this match again is one of those matches where I won't mind seeing Christian win, but the only reason why I say that is because Kenny's title run for the first couple of months was good, but now it's kind of getting watered down because he has to have outside interference to help him win, and we all know that he can do it on his own. And I'm really hoping that if they're going to continue him as their world champion, he needs to do it on his own. I know he's a heel. I know he's selling a character, but even some of the greats before him who were heel were able to do it on their own.
Son of a gun.
Were able to do it on their own. So, sorry for the technical difficulty, guys.
Experience that more.
So like I was saying, I think, there's been greats before him in other companies that have done a heel run without needing the help. But I guess, and then on top of that, I think Kenny's one of those guys where he doesn't need the main event spotlight to be a great talent. And that's another thing that kind of gets me with the Elite group is because they don't need the titles to have AEW exceed. So I'm going to touch on that a little bit more when we get to the AEW Tag Team Championship match. But I like Kenny. I like Christian. I always have been a Christian fan. So it can go. This match is another one that can go either way for me. But I would rather have them take the title off of Kenny because I think that they need to have more focus on someone that's not an executive for the company.
I agree, especially a founding member of the company too, because like Kenny Omega, I mean, I want to take a look at something real quick in regards to his AEW title run. Hold on one second.
Okay.
I'm going to look at ProFight, DB.com. It's Kenny Omega, not Omegle. And here we go.
Kenny Omega might get more attention if his last name was Omegle.
Okay, let's see here. Yeah, ever since he's been champion, like, he has not once competed a lot in regards to Dynamite. Like,
yeah.
the only time he's ever done, like, and he's also went through the 30-day limit period too. Okay.
And this is your world.
You know what's going to happen right here? This is why. This guy, Kenny Omega, and I don't care if he gets offended or not, is one of the laziest bastards I have ever seen holding a world title. Okay? Yeah, he's got the AAA Mega Championship, but here's the problem. You are representing the company that you co-founded, and you are supposed to be main eventing before the 30-day limit period, defending the said belt of the company you co-founded.
Exactly.
So get the freaking Don Callis dildo out of your butt and defend your freaking title. You freaking idiot. Like, is that too much to ask?
No, it's not. For sure, it definitely is not.
This guy is the lazy, and like I say, and I will say it again, is the laziest bastard I have ever seen in an AEW World Champion. When we saw Jericho as World Champion, you're probably thinking, but then he goes the 30-limit period in September. Well, yeah, but guess what? There was no special on, and they were going to have him defend it on one of the Dynamite episodes. The first ones. I mean, like, there you go. And then there's Jon Moxley, who, in my view, was actually there to defend his title every time he was there.
Exactly. So
for Kenny Omega, I'm sorry. This guy is a freaking lazy prick who does not need this belt because, I mean, when he first won it, I mean, the way how his run has been since being AEW champion has been so underrated and very underbooked. I have not once seen anything from this guy that makes me look at him as a real world champion. Not once.
Outside of like his first like 2 or 3 title defenses, after that it's been mediocre.
It has been mediocre, and it's been tasteless. There's nothing he can bring to the table other than that being that little heel gimmick. That little cleaner, like the cleaner gimmick, I'm like, really, dude? Is that what you got to offer me? You're gonna sweep around, having women sweep? Are you trying to pull an agenda or something? Either way, I'm sorry, dude. This guy's reign is so so underrated. It just doesn't make any sense to me. Moxley's reign was more, legitimate, and it had more logic than Kenny's reign.
Yeah, for sure, because it's getting to the point where it's either shit or get off the pot. AEW definitely needs to do something with this, because I find myself, I'm not going to lie, as much as I like Kenny, I find myself fast forwarding through a lot of his segments because I don't want to see you talk. I understand you're a champion and you're building a story, but you need to get into the ring. You need to wrestle. I think the last match he had on Dynamite was that match where they all came out dressed up as Space Jam, dressed up in the Space Jam attires when they had that big 4-on-4, I think it was. So it's like they need to do something with him because, again, like I said, tremendous, great, granted, he's top tier talent, but you're like you said, he's there, he's got the title, he's representing the company, but I see him wrestling more for AAA and over in Impact than I do seeing him on AEW.
Yeah.
So again, they need to do something with that. They need to correct that. And like I said again, he's one of the
30-day limit period too. He's also surpassed it.
And on top of that, he's an executive. Why is he holding on to that title? I mean, are they waiting for someone to come in and step up? Because obviously, I mean, I love Christian. It'd be cool to see him win the title, but he's got does he need it? You know what I mean? Is he going to defend it every couple of weeks? Is he going to defend it at the pay-per-views?
Well, Christian did do it with the NWA championship, back in back in his first reign as NWA champion.
I remember that.
For Impact World Champion, he's doing good so far. I mean, even though there is like a talent exchange between Impact and AEW, but as far as I'm concerned, I mean, like, I don't know if Christian should be a double champion, but then again, it might be kind of cool. Plus, it might help, boost his, credibility after years of being on the shelf, in regards to a full-time career. So I'd have to say, in this particular scenario, I mean, as much as I'd love to see Christian Cage win, I could probably tell Kenny's going to be champion until maybe till Full Gear, or maybe the next winter is coming, Dynamite special. But either way, I'm just giving out my opinion in regards to Kenny Omega, and if he finds us offending, boo-hoo, cry me a freaking river, go eat a dick. I don't care.
Double Z?
Well, now, there are a couple things I wanted to add upon from what you guys said. About the title defenses and now wrestling in Dynamite, that's reminding me of Hogan's run in WCW.
Yes!
Upon winning the world title, like after turning heel in 96 and everything, because I had to be reminded of this by watching Wrestling Bios' Reliving the War series. He went a long time without having a match on Dynamite on Nitro after turning heel, even with his constant title runs. And most of the time, whenever Hogan would be on TV, he's just cutting promos all the time. It took like 9 months for him or 8 to 9 months to have his first match on Nitro in a while after turning heel. I think he had a match around, I think, like April 96 on Nitro, and then he didn't have another one on Nitro until like late in that year or even early afterwards, even with the constant switchings of whether he's the champion or not. So it's like, it's reminding me of that in a sense. Yeah. And it's like, that's where it gets bullshit.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I've actually, said something similar to that, and yes, I agree with you right there too. I forgot to add that as well, but then again, you pretty much hit the nail on the head when it comes down to Kenny's reign and what he's been doing in regards to this scenario as him as AEW World Champion.
But it's like, with this match, I think the reason I don't see Kenny losing this right now is because it was not even a month ago when he lost the Impact Championship to Christian. So it's like, it would be a little bit iffy, even if he doesn't need the championship now anymore. It would still be kind of iffy that it's like 2 matches in the course of a month and Kenny loses both championships to the same guy. It might kind of make him look a little bit like inferior compared to Christian, maybe kind of bring him down a bit if you do that. It's like, oh, he can't beat this guy. He lost both of his championships to the same person. Why should people take him seriously if he's not as good as somebody who's much older than him? No disrespect to Christian. So it's like, even if he doesn't need the championship, I feel like it would negatively impact his stock if he's losing both of his belts to the same guy within the course of a 1 month period. So I don't see the championship changing to Christian in this period just because of that status alone. It feels like it would be a little bit of a detriment to Kenny himself. And yeah, he could eventually like start having some clean wins as a heel. But again, like we were saying before, heels tend to cheat whenever being champion. I mean, like, you look at JBL's run with the WWE title in 2004, 2005, his only clean title defense he had was his first title defense, and that was against freaking Spike Dudley on a throwaway episode of SmackDown. The rest of the time, it was just constant interferences and stuff. It's like, oh, the cabinet gets involved. Oh, Heidenreich gets involved. Oh, like, Undertaker got caught using the championship, and now it's a DQ. It's like, that's the way the heels are. They always have some kind of scenario going on where they escape by the skin of their teeth, and that's the point of Kenny's character. Is like, he's got stuff going on that'll ensure that he's going to walk out champion, even if it's not cleanly. So it's like, yeah, it waters out his championship reign, but again, that's a typical heel champion thing, even though I shit more on JBL for having that booking, because that was just like all the damn time. But it's like with Kenny, it's kind of expected at this point because of who he got in his corner being Don Callis. So I don't see the title change happening just yet, just because, like I said, of the earlier facts saying that the fact that he lost the Impact Championship already just not even a month ago to Christian, be like back-to-back title matches against each other, losing both the same guy, it wouldn't really do Kenny any real favors in terms of like his stock, even if he doesn't need the championship right now.
I agree, especially with the fact, like, and I will say this though, at least JBL was able to do the 30-day limit period with his title run.
Even after SummerSlam, when JBL was quote unquote injured after getting choke slammed through the limo, yet still had the title being put on the line, and Orlando Jordan had to defend it in his honor. Even when JBL had like that gigantic halo on, the cowboy hat still on top of there, it's like, player, you're going to defend the title 1-on-1 against The Undertaker. And then JBL still interfered to ensure a disqualification. So it's like, again, the heel.
And then Undertaker's right behind him, and like. But yeah, I get what you're coming from.
I rambled on a bit, or ranted it just a slight bit too much there.
Breathe.
Almost forgot how to.
Oh, geez.
Well, Chase forgot to breathe because he just coughed.
Hey, I've been sick for the past few days. You know that.
Yeah, I'm not going to pick on you too much. But what are your thoughts?
For the match, I don't think the title will change hands, and I don't think that will be the main event, especially with those two. So, but right now what I'm thinking of is, will Jericho lose this match tomorrow?
We got to stay on topic.
Oh, we are on topic.
Yeah, we're going
No, but if you want to know between Kenny Omega and Christian, I don't think the title will change hands.
I agree. It's going to end in two ways. Either Kenny's going to get help, or he's going to retain by disqualification or count out or whatever means. Either way, he's going to get away, scot-free, which is going to piss a lot of people off. And then following Wednesday on Dynamite, I mean, he's going to be there and he's going to run his mouth, and then all of a sudden we'll have another, and I bet he'll probably defend it at Grand Slam, but then again, I highly doubt that too because he's a lazy bastard.
So here's the thing: is and this is just an idea that a kind of thing. What happens hypothetically? I know that I said about guys coming in and getting automatic main event push. What happens if Kenny's in the ring? He went over. He retained his title. Music hits. Adam Cole walks out.
It's been speculation. It's been speculated that Adam Cole was going to be heading to AEW because of how he's been treated as of late on NXT because Vince took it over along with Bruce Pritchard and all that other bull crap.
So I mean, and then the thing is, the last time these two guys were in the ring, I think they were, if I'm not mistaken, was when they were members of the Bullet Club. So that's
the reason why we have the Too Sweet.
Yep. Well, actually, no. Technically, they're not the reason why. If you go back, you got to go back to the '90s. The NWO Wolfpack were the Too Sweet. And even before that, it was the Click. like Triple H said, often imitated and never duplicated.
But I will say though, with they do have a little bit of a history. Only problem is, like, they may be from the Bullet Club, but their legacies aren't really defined by the Bullet Club. It's who they are as wrestlers in general.
Exactly.
Like Adam Cole's legacy is based off of his dominating and his very great run in Ring of Honor when it was and then there was and then his time in somewhere around in the Indies and in Japan, before the Bullet Club. And then even during it.
Yep.
And then NXT came around.
Yeah, and then NXT, and they took the ball and they ran with it for X amount of years, and it was great. I'm not gonna lie, I love.
McMahon took it over.
Yeah, until Vince stuck his old genetically altered fingers and started mixing the pop. I honestly think if McMahon did not put his fingers in there, I think we probably would have saw the UE up on the main roster. It would have been nice to kind of see the UE versus the Hurt Business, or see Imperium versus the Hurt Business. I thought that would have been kind of cool too. But yeah,
the Undisputed Era versus the Hurt Business. I think that would have been very interesting in its own right.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned, with Adam Cole, if he comes to AEW, that'd be good. But then again, there's also speculation. What about Bryan Danielson, the American Dragon?
That would be it. High Star and Edge. I'm thinking, because I'm also trying to see is like how if they were to do that route. I mean, you automatically, if anyone comes out post match after that match is celebrating, during the post match celebration, you're automatically going to know that they're coming for Kenny, they're coming for the title. So, I mean, next to Punk, I would probably say Bryan Danielson would probably be the one person to put in the ring with Kenny, because they're not building anybody else past Christian. They're not. There's no announcements. There has been
there was Adam Page until that little stipulation that if he lost, he would lose his number one contender spot, which is kind of retarded if you ask me.
Yeah, so it's like there hasn't really been anyone that they've built since Christian has stepped up, and they started that feud. So, I mean,
don't get me wrong. I mean, the feud's been good. I mean, like the fact that how they're telling the story about
for sure,
past with Don Callis, but they're talking about his past with Don Callis. They're not really focused on Kenny and Christian. They're mostly focused on Christian and Don.
Oh yeah, and that's the thing about it is they need to be focused more on Kenny, Christian, more than anything, because they're the ones that are in the ring. They're the ones that are going to be wrestling tomorrow night. They're the ones that are going to probably tear the house down along with Darby and Punk. So they need to be the two that the light needs to be focused on, not Callis and Christian. And I totally agree.
It's like Triple H and Stephanie all over again, but only the story was supposed to be about Triple H and Chris Jericho, WrestleMania 18.
Exactly. And it wasn't. It was Stephanie and Jericho, I think. Yeah, Stephanie and Jericho.
No, it was mostly Stephanie and Triple H. That was the main story. Like about their little,
Oh yeah, their little split. Yeah.
So was it that match at WrestleMania or the rematch when Stephanie fell and landed on Jericho's nuts? Her face right on his nuts.
I don't remember.
I don't remember that happening in the match.
I remember, I think it was wasn't at WrestleMania, what was it, 18, when... I
remember Triple H was facing Jericho. He threw Jericho right into his, Stephanie. Jericho fell down, then Stephanie fell down, her head landed right on his nuts.
I think that was a triple threat match during the first WWF draft.
Was it?
Yeah, and that was the one where Stephanie lost and she was banished off television for
yeah, that's the one. Yes.
Oh, yeah,
banished. The key word is banished.
But she came back.
I'm Stephanie. I'm the GM of SmackDown. I'm for the people. It's like, great, nobody gives a fuck.
Well, she got bigger boobs then, so it's like, okay, whatever.
And also, well, during her tenure as general manager, it was actually pretty good and decent, but then all of a sudden, that's when you have to have her get ragdolled and manhandled by her own freaking father, which to me...
All I remember from Stephanie's run was that one clip they showed her on backstage where the camera was zooming up and showing her bending over at her desk. You're like, oh, do I have your attention now? It's like, yeah, you're freaking bent over showing your ass. Of course you got my goddamn horny ass attention.
And Double Z was in his bedroom for a week.
Yeah.
Do I see a stain?
Yeah.
Is it that time of the month?
I'm not on my period.
No, but you act like it.
Nobody asked.
So
But yeah,
so
I'm going to say Kenny Omega for the win. My final thoughts and prediction.
my final thoughts, as much as I want it to be Christian, I think it's going to be Kenny because I think they're going to. I don't think Christian, as much as I love him, I don't think he's going to be that guy to beat Kenny.
I love Christian to death. The only problem is that Kenny, in my view, it's like, like potato, that kind of deal. It's always going to be the same with him until somebody can actually prove to be more relevant than him, even though he is irrelevant in regards to not defending the belt under a 30-day limit period. Hey, do that sometime, you Brock Lesnar, wannabe.
A lot of people pretty much doubt that nothing unexpected is going to happen in that match tomorrow. So,
what's your guys' predictions, Zach and Chase?
for the Christian and
Kenny Omega and Christian, yeah.
Well, pretty much like I believe Kenny's going to retain the title. And I don't think that the title's going to change hands. I think mostly this pay-per-view seems to be more focused on the fact that Punk coming back, trying to make that more of the talk of the night. So I don't really think that the title will change hands and go to Christian.
At the time, it didn't look like it was going to be a focus until the moment he came back, and it was official. The rumors were true that he was returning, but the problem was once the moment he returned on Rampage, that's when things started to change, and we all know where the focus is really dead set on.
Yeah, for sure, where the money is. Zach?
Yeah, it was like I said, I don't see, after Christian already won the Impact title from Kenny less than a month ago, I don't see him getting another championship off of Kenny again. So obviously Kenny's got to retain for this whole match, because it's not going to do Kenny any favors to lose both of his titles to the same guy in less than a month, because it's just not really going to help him.
It's also kind of embarrassing when you think about it, too.
Exactly. It's like, oh, I lost you again. Maybe I can beat you this time. No, I lost again and again. It's kind of like when Booker T always kept losing to The Rock. It's just like, it's just an expected outcome, and it didn't have the other person elevate him or do him really any favors in the long run until like maybe a long time later.
Well, Booker T did beat The Rock one time.
Well, yeah, once, but it was
I have proof.
The rest of the time, it was just The Rock beating him.
I have proof. You know why I have proof?
I've seen the battle.
It was the
I
battle
can't remember
royal.
Which match it was, but it was just like once.
It was the battle royal.
However many they had.
It was the battle royal the night after No Way Out.
No, didn't
the
Booker
one where he
T
eliminated him.
Yeah. By the way, the whole I have proof thing that credit goes.
But still, like he never pinned him or made him submit in like a one-on-one like standard match between them. The rest of the time, it was just The Rock constantly beating him.
Wasn't there a match between Booker T and The Rock where The Rock won the world title from Booker T?
Yeah,
SummerSlam 2001.
Okay.
He won a lights out match against him on SmackDown. He retained a handicap match with Shane and Booker at Unforgiven.
They made Booker T look like shit when he went to WWF. Like, made most WC talent look like crap.
Yeah,
that was the whole idea, because you expect Vince to be merciful to them. Absolutely
we need a Barry WCW.
So Sting was made a good choice not to go to freaking WWE back then.
He should never have went at all.
Yeah.
No, he shouldn't have.
I mean, he should have. I could only agree if he were to appear to be in the Hall of Fame, but wrestling there, no.
Having him wrestle like Seth Rollins was a little dangerous, because Seth Rollins has injured quite a few people that he's been in the ring with. I would trust Sting with somebody more like Randy Orton or something like that. Somebody that's more experienced and that's more safer in the ring with.
There was no issues with Rollins at the time, but then again, all because of that. I mean, there have been moments where they're just unexpected, Well,
Rollins has injured people and created quite a few accidents.
Yeah.
Like pick a wrestler that you would want to wrestle that you feel safe with.
Undertaker?
Well, he's no longer there.
I'm talking about like during 2015.
Oh, okay. Let him tombstone you on your head. Okay.
Hey, on the steel steps. I don't care.
Hey, if you want to have your head between his nuts, go for it.
Look at me.
Do I need to step out of the room again?
No, God damn it.
Make it look like he killed me, and the people will be like, "Oh,
JMAN's dead." I wonder how much he's getting paid for this.
So want to talk about this match real quick, only because I don't think I don't know why it's even there. Paul Wight versus QT Marshall.
Well, there is some story built behind it as to why this match is happening. I mean, that's one thing. I mean, Paul Wight wanting to help his friend, Tony Schiavone getting, and his son getting bullied by QT. I mean, that's pretty good, all things considering. But however, the outcome that happened on Dynamite this past Wednesday, where I did not expect this happening at all, like Billy Gunn of the Gun Club, along with his two sons, betraying Paul Wight. I mean, like, I'm not going to compare that to the Shield, breakup, but I will say though that was an unexpected moment. I didn't expect Billy to turn on Paul like that.
I wasn't expecting it either, and the reason why I say that is because
the greatest moments in wrestling. You never know what's going to happen. That is the thrill of it, and I didn't see that one coming. That's why I love this, professional wrestling.
I didn't see it coming because you don't really see Billy Gunn and the Gun Club on Dynamite all that much. They're usually like After Dark or whatever, or AEW Dark or whatever, and it's like that's
or Elevation.
Or Elevation. So that's why I think that it was actually interesting to see that go down. I won't be surprised. Another expected debut is maybe Braun Strowman, because there's been talks about him signing with AEW.
Well, there either been talks of them signing with AEW, Impact, or the NWA.
Yeah, I think he would actually kind of fit with the current storyline. I think just because being another big man,
and on top of that, he does have a history with Big Show. When Paul Wight was Big Show in the WWE.
Yeah, exactly. So,
which is kind of cool. Like they did have a good match.
I'll just say,
the problem is, how many times are you going to break the ring?
No, let's just say this. When they broke the ring the second time, it was like the referee's reaction the second time was like so forced, as to where Big Show and Brock Lesnar broke the ring on SmackDown was totally unexpected, and the referee sold the hell out of it. Whereas when they broke it the second time, it was just like, okay.
Mark Henry and Big Show?
Yeah, when they broke the ring, I'm like, okay. Like, that's how I felt.
It was unexpected because they changed the match between Cena and Del Rio into a last man standing match.
Well, yeah. I'm just saying more or less
was it already booked as a last man standing match, but then again, they'd have to use the entire arena as a way to, to keep the match going.
I actually know this because I've done a lot of research because of my podcast episode coming up. It was a standard one-on-one match, but then it was changed to last man standing right before the pay-per-view. So they just added that later on. Like, it wasn't like a last-minute decision like, oh, now it's suddenly going to be a last man standing up that we got a broken fucking ring.
Yeah.
It's like they knew they were gonna do that angle, that spot. But the one thing about the Vengeance match between, I think, now this is the same match between Show and Henry. I think this is the first time we saw Big Show jump off the top rope.
Yeah.
I mean, let me tell you something. That is impressive.
Oh, for sure, especially for him being his size.
Sure, it took him some time, but here's the thing. Look at the size of this guy. I mean, if he's gonna do a great move, give him some time, and he might impress you.
Just remember, he used to do that stuff back in WCW.
Oh yeah,
I didn't.
Well, he was also a lot thinner. He was a lot smaller than too, weight wise.
Well, not a whole lot thinner, but still, he was still of a noticeable size.
He was skinnier, but then let's put it that way.
It's like Kane performing a drop kick from the top rope. It's a rarity.
Yeah. So the only reason why I say this match is probably for me is the one that I'm looking forward to the least amount. Is even though that the storyline is great, and Paul's return to in-ring action is pretty cool. It's gonna be pretty sweet. Just overall, I just don't think this is the only match that I'm not looking forward to. So I'm probably gonna say just because of the fact is that he has a lot of wrestling experience, I'm gonna go with Wight.
Me too.
But yeah, like I have no.
You know what he should be known as? He should be known as Paul the Giant.
Or Giant Paul?
Yeah, like Paul the Giant, just to pay tribute to Andre the Giant, and also have the Giant name he used to use in WCW.
Or just put Paul Giant Wight.
Well, can he though? Like, what does WWE still own any rights when it comes to Paul?
Well, they own the rights to Big Show, but they don't own the rights to anything else because when he was in WCW, he was the Giant, and then when he came to WWE,
or just Giant, that's what he'd be known as. But then, as for the Giant, there's no rights to that name. I mean, it's just the.
Or you could put Paul the Giant Wight. It could work.
It only depends on how you
Gorilla,
would pronounce that.
Call the Gorilla.
Paul the
Zach,
Gorilla.
Your thoughts?
Zach?
Yeah.
Your thoughts? Hello, McFly.
I don't know what to think. Like you guys even mentioned what he could be called as. I just looked it up quick a second ago on Wikipedia, saying like one of the older alternative names he had, like after he left WWE in 2007, is like his temporary name was just Paul the Great White. It's like the Great White what? The Great White Shark? The Great White Whale? Like that's just a lazy nickname to give him. Oh, I'm the Great.
The Great Caveman who stops
the Great White Giant. There you go.
The Great White Giant. Well, that's kind of that would be kind of racist.
Not if you spell White like his actual last name.
True that.
I don't know how to feel about this. Like, it doesn't feel like Paul White's going to win just because, like, he's been with the wrestling business so long to the point where it feels like it's about time for him to start putting others over. Because, like, he can't be beating people all the time, especially seeing how he's getting older in age. Like, I know he's in far better shape, like, far compared to, like, what it was 15 years ago when he left WWE in late 2006. Because at that point, he was just in terrible health and letting himself go. And now he's probably in like some of the best shape of his life. But it's like it feels like there's no real benefit for him to win compared to QT Marshall in this situation, especially when you see how far along Big Show is, or Paul White. I gotta stop calling him Big Show. He's not Big Show any fucking more.
No more BS.
QT Marshall, in terms of like where their careers are, like QT Marshall is going to benefit more from beating Paul White because Paul White doesn't really need a victory here. And we got to start helping out the newer talent because, again, like you can't just rely on constantly pushing former WWE guys. So I feel I'm a little bit leaning more towards QT Marshall compared to Paul White in this situation.
I agree, but still, I'm just going to stick with Paul, just for the odds-on chance because to me, I feel like QT hasn't really been able to do much as of late because he's being held back too much. And I think it's probably because he's also not just a in-ring, persona and a character, but he's also, like a trainer as well. I mean, it's really not a big deal as this match goes on. How the story's good, but it's not really a big deal of who wins or who loses. But if I were to pick one, in my view, I'd pick Paul. But if you pick QT, you can pick QT.
I still wonder, like with Paul White, like how much more longevity does he have left?
I think he's come. I think what's going to happen is he's going to spend a couple of X amount of years with AEW, and I think he'll go back to the E and get inducted into the Hall of Fame. That's usually what they do now anyway. They go somewhere else and wrestle for a few years, then they come back and they retire.
No, but for Paul White, it's a bit different because remember, he's a tall guy. Like, he's 49 years old, and people like Paul, if you know his background and stuff, how much longer do you think he has?
That's what I'm saying. Like I probably see him wrestling wise. I probably see him maybe 2 years at the most, but very here and there. Like maybe once every couple of months.
Life-wise.
Do you think he'll really make it to 60?
Yeah, well, I mean, at least within his physical well-being, he's not in the same boat as what happened with Andre in the later years in terms of like his physical condition, like what you saw around WrestleMania 3 with back problems, having a hard time walking, everything. Like he can still at least be mobile. Like he's not in the same stage as what Andre was around near that age area.
But also think about with tall people in general, like there's a small percent of tall people that don't really live up to 60.
Well, here's the deal. That may be true, but Paul White, he's a little different from Andre, and here's why. Because let's take a look. Okay, let's take a look at this.
Well, I'm talking about just Andre. I'm talking about just tall people in general.
Don't even go
we're
there.
just making a comparison because they both have had gigantism. But I think didn't Paul White have his like some kind of gland removed in order to stop it for himself compared to Andre?
I believe so. I could be. I don't.
I know one of them
sure.
did. I think it
Yeah,
might
okay,
have been
listen to
Bloodline,
this, guys.
actually.
Andre, he died when he was 46 years old, and if Paul Wight, considering how he has surpassed, Andre, he could live, a lot longer than Andre did. Because I feel like, with Andre, the last time you saw him, Andre, like in a physical capacity, is when he was like, being with the Bushwhackers, and he was using little cane-like things to help him walk to the ring. That was how bad in shape Andre was, and you knew somehow, some way, it wasn't going to last long until he would kick the bucket. Now, as far as Paul goes, I don't see that happening unless he takes proper care of himself, both physically and and personally.
True, I agree with that. I definitely think. I mean, but if you really think about it, I mean, when he came back, a few years ago, and he stepped into the ring against Strowman, he was actually he said it, he was in the best physical shape he had been in years because he was away for so long. He cut a lot of weight, even though he's still relatively big.
He was actually wanting to go into a WrestleMania match against Shaq,
Yeah.
Shaquille O'Neal, but never happened. But we could probably still have it happen in AEW.
Oh, for sure.
That'd be pretty cool.
So I think for his height and his age, and him just having the reconstructive hip surgery,
yes,
I actually think that he's actually add a little bit more longevity to his career and his life, because for his age, for someone his height, to still be wanting to get into the ring and do what he does, is very surprising. And I think that he can definitely still get a couple of matches in before he wants to finally hang it up. Because at the end of the day, we don't know how he physically feels, except for Paul. He's the only one that really knows. So I'm hoping that he continues on, because he looks great. I'm not gonna lie, he looks great. He looks like he's losing weight. He looks like he's doing good. So
I would like to see him do
power to
drop
him.
kicks again. That would be pretty cool. It's been so long. Those
Yeah, for
drop
sure.
kicks he used to do.
Maybe elbow drops off the top rope again. No, not the second rope.
Hopefully it does. Well, if he does it off the top rope, hopefully it doesn't take him longer than it did when he did against Henry. Speaking of which, him and Henry are in the same company. I mean, what will happen if they go at it again? They tear that ring down.
Out of all the times that the ring has imploded,
instead of it imploding, let them go through it, like legitimately go through the floor.
It's like, where do they go?
Great. That'd be awesome. The first ever ring implosion in AEW.
They fall back into WWE. Shoot.
Let's see here. Another match that one of the matches that I'm actually looking forward to, is the Jon Moxley versus Satoshi Kojima.
Okay, here's my thoughts in regards to that match, because I mean, I have little knowledge of Satoshi Kojima.
Me too.
But, however, we all do know Jon Moxley from A to Z, because after all, formerly known as Dean Ambrose in the WWE. But we also know his background with Combat Zone Wrestling and other hardcore indie promotions and all that stuff. At the end of the day, Jon Moxley, he's representing All Elite Wrestling. And it's best for him to win this match, because losing, and now granted, I'm sure Satoshi is a very good talent, very good, Japanese wrestler. I mean, I've heard he's been the first wrestler to hold both the IWGP Heavyweight and the Triple Crown Heavyweight Championships of both companies, of NJPW and AJPW, New Japan and All Japan.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, this is all about representing, not like representing. No, we're talking representing your company that you are, currently contracted with, a company that you have helped put on the map. So it is only best for Moxley to win this match, because if you have Kojima win this match for whatever random reason, which he could be a great, piece of talent, but at the end of the day, it could also kill Moxley's credibility. I mean, what if we want to see him as AEW World Champion again? What if we want to see him on top of the mountain again? That's the one thing we're all wondering and questioning. So should this match benefit, Moxley more? or should this match be thrown out and just give like him the L and let Kojima win for all intents and purposes because he's not even currently contracted with the company?
I think the reason for this match is because Kojima wants to come to AEW, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think Moxley and Kojima had a feud over in New Japan for a brief period of time, and I actually do like. I'm not gonna lie, I actually do like the fact that Mox goes over to Japan and represents All Elite over there and mixes it up with some of their talent over there. Something that not a lot of the guys do now. I mean, Kenny was doing it for a while, but he hasn't done it since he became AEW World Champion. So, yeah, my pick is Moxley all the way. But I'm curious to see what these two guys are going to do at the end of the night. That's what I'm more concerned with. Is it going to be a great match? Is it going to deliver? Can this guy go? So that's the way I'm taking and looking at it.
Yes.
Guys, Zach, Chase, any of you guys want to weigh in?
When it comes to Jon Moxley and his opponent, I don't know much about the other guy. I'll be honest, I don't.
It's foreign. And no disrespect intended. I mean, like, Kojima, he's like foreign, to me and to most of us. No disrespect to him. I'm sure he's been having a great career. We just don't know that much about him. That's the sad part.
Hey, what's going on, Scorpion? How's it going, brother?
There was one more match we just talked about real quick, and it's the retirement match, or possibly retiring tomorrow, the one with Jericho.
Oh,
So
we still got quite a few matches to talk
still
about.
gonna get to that, man. Why are you jumping the gun? What is your deal?
I don't know.
I think I'm about to come over to San Antonio and wring you by your neck until you stay on topic.
Time
Well,
to
let's-
survive the room again.
Yeah, get out, Zach. Get your ass on out of here.
You got freaking J-Man threatening me with a good time. Okay.
All right, Zach, you can come back.
Thank fuck. I hate marital disputes.
Sorry, I had to put mom in her place, Zach.
So you want to fight, get married.
So Zach, your thoughts? I know you follow a lot of the stuff overseas too.
Yeah, I'm such the expert. It's like, I have never heard of Satoshi Kojima before. So, like, maybe I'm just saying Jon Moxley mainly because, like J-Man was saying earlier, like, what really would there be to go for with Kojima, this guy who's not probably really known that much here in the U.S. to benefit from this win? Like, what direction does he go? So it's more like a case of Jon Moxley winning is, like, the only thing that makes sense over this other guy.
For sure. I think, yeah. I mean, again, like I said, we don't really know much about the guy, Kojima. But as long as if AEW sees him as a good talent, they're gonna want to sign him. So I entrust in AEW with their talent selection. So who knows? I mean, this might be a 5-star match.
Maybe.
So we're gonna go. This is another match that I'm looking forward to. We'll jump to that.
You know what? I know if what you're about to showcase, don't showcase that match because I think I want to save that for last because I feel like Chase is more focused on the match that he's more interested in than anything. Is it? I mean, is the next match you're gonna talk about Jericho and Friedman?
No.
Well,
we'll talk
make that the last one, so that way we can have Chase be patient.
I hate you, Jay.
We'll talk. Well, that'll be the next one, Dave, just for you.
I love you too, man.
We'll talk about that one next after this one. This match.
No, we're saving that for last.
Is for the AEW Tag Team Championships. It is the Young Bucks versus the Lucha Brothers.
Inside of a steel cage.
Now, here is my take. I like both teams. Now, the reason why I like both teams is because they're both tremendous tag teams. They give you great matches. They pander to the crowd. They sell their characters. They sell their gimmicks. The Young Bucks are great as a heel tag team. The Lucha Brothers can do both heel and face, which is amazing. My only nitpick for this match, I love that it's a steel cage match because it gets to keep everybody out. I love that. But this is where I'm going to pick apart. It does not need to go any longer than 20 to 25 minutes. That is it. And the reason why I say that is because as much as I love the Young Bucks and I think they're a tremendous tag team, and they're definitely worthy of holding those titles. They're execs. They don't need the titles to be over because they're already over. Their career speaks for itself. Their in-ring ability speaks for itself. As a tag team, speaks for itself. But anything after 20 to 25 minutes with the Young Bucks, it becomes very sloppy because it's trying to watch a chihuahua jump around after jumping around for 20 minutes, and it has no gas, so it's just flopping all over the place.
And plus, it's their way of trying to suck off Dave Meltzer's cock, trying to get them to give them the 5-star match and not the Punk and Allin or even Cage and Omega or even Jericho.
Is Dave Meltzer now doing work with AEW, or what's the deal?
They even have a thing called the Meltzer Driver. I'm not kidding you, and I'm like,
really?
They do.
That's another word for Dave Meltzer's dick right before he jacks off.
I never really liked Meltzer.
I think the Steiner screwdriver is more accurate.
So my pick for this match, the Lucha Bros. Even if it was Jungle Express in this match, I would still go against the Bucks because I don't think that they need a tag. I mean, granted, they are at the top of the tag team division in AEW, but they don't need the titles to be at the top. They can also utilize their ability in the ring to push some of those bottom tag teams to the top. And that's what I love about AEW is because they actually have a tag team division and they're actually utilizing that tag team division. And I was a little disappointed that my boys Jungle Express weren't going to be a part of this tag team title match, but I can't take it away from the Lucha Brothers because they're a great tag team as well. So they're going to be my pick going into this match. My prediction, final thoughts. It's going to be a great match all around.
I agree with you, David, in the chat. I totally agree with you.
The only thing I will say here, first of all, David, piss off. Second of all, Ulysses, you be quiet. And third and finally, I'm about to give my opinion. Okay, so this is my thought process. Now, I agree with you in regards to the Bucks not needing the tag titles. I mean, sure, at a time, but here's the deal. They could have needed them, at one point so that way they can help build the tag team division up and give more tag team, like actual tag teams to be on the card of Dynamite and other shows or whatever, and, make the tag team division more legitimate. But here's another factor that also plays into effect, and this is where I have to disagree with you on the Bucks losing, because to me, there's only been a rarity if we ever see a champion in AEW keep their title for over a year. The only time we ever did was, Hikaru Shida keeping her title for a whole year. And you know how that ended.
Yeah.
And in this worst case scenario, that's probably what the Bucks are going to do. They're going to keep their titles probably till the next full gear in November of this year. And that's probably the worst case scenario. But I do agree with you in regards to it shouldn't be over 20 to 25 minutes. Anything over that is pretty much dead at this point,
I mean, their match with FTR.
It's also filler, too much filler and over, choreographic.
Their last match, I believe, with FTR was almost 40 minutes long.
And on top of all that, the last time I saw these two face off against the Lucha Brothers was actually at the very first All Out, and it was for a different set of tag team titles of AAA. And if you think about it, the Lucha Brothers won that match, so it's obvious that this is going to be another match between them. Only this is where we see, Young Bucks take a win over them in regards to the All Out. But as far as I'm concerned, I don't see the Young Bucks losing the tag titles until the next full gear. Now, they actually can do the 30-day limit period. Hey, Kenny, take notes. And also know how to make a tag match look good. But I think the real problem is that they should have been noticed for, getting other tag teams recognized within their division instead of, being put over just to be backup for the world champion as well. As far as I'm concerned, I think they're going to win this cage match, all for the intents and purposes to be champions for a whole year.
Chase?
No comments.
Oh, wait. Fernando says, I hope the steel cage match finishes both members of each team escaping the cage. No pinfalls or submission.
Well, the only thing is that if that were to happen, I have a feeling that it's going to be one-sided because then they'll utilize that. Like, say, for example, if one member escapes from the team, then there will be a 2-on-1 in the ring. Unless you have to say both members of each team have to, of one team, have to escape in order for it to, but then again, you still have that same situation. But I wouldn't mind the pinfall or submission, or you can escape win via escaping the cage. Because regardless, they're going to all four members are going to be in the ring at the same time. And you don't know, even though that there's no one allowed into the ring, you don't never know if there's going to be anyone outside of the ring.
Right.
Also, J-Man, just so you know, you are a moderator, so if you want to at any time...
Okay. I did.
I would like to watch a few more tag matches before tomorrow's pay-per-view. So, I just want to watch more some of the Lucha Brothers matches and so on. So I've been watching more of the singles matches, but not too much of the tag matches.
Zach, do you have any final thoughts before we move on to the next one?
I'm trying to think of this because, you guys keep mentioning the time limit and everything. I don't see, especially within a tag team, because you got these two tag teams are high flyer, fast paced tag team wrestlers where a lot of stuff you see high spots and stuff going on to the outside and everything. When you're confined inside of a steel cage, it's going to kind of limit them on what they can try to do extra in a match. And especially when you got this stipulation that you can exit the steel cage for a victory, it feels like they're probably not going to go longer than, they'll probably go 15 to 20-ish minutes for that time limit. Because you don't see a lot of steel cage matches that can go long unless they're telling a proper story. I was just looking it up a moment ago for SummerSlam 94. You saw one that was over half an hour for Britt and Allin, but that was because there was a long-term story being told in that match. And that's arguably one of the greatest steel cage matches ever, but it was a long-term story being told within that long period of time. They couldn't do blood, so instead you're doing the Allin heel thing of trying to escape the cage every opportunity possible, Britt having to stop him to keep the title. Yeah. That's something I could see possibly happening as an added thing in this match if they're going to tell a story. But otherwise, I can't see them trying to go past 15 or 20 minutes because anything beyond that for a tag team steel cage match, it feels like that would be stretching out too much and they might not know what else to do to keep the time going to not just suddenly end the match out of nowhere. So it's probably going to be within 15, 20 minutes unless they can tell a proper story to justify a long period of time going for this match. I just feel like the Lucha Brothers might win this match. Because, what the Young Bucks, being heels, are going to do whatever they can for every opportunity to try to escape the cage. Exactly. That's a common thing to see heels do for a steel cage match. We can escape, hurry up and get the fuck out of the ring. Even though I think the only instance where a tag steel cage match where that hasn't happened, at least to my knowledge, was Edge and Christian versus the Hardy Boys from Unforgiven 2000. But it's I feel like the Lucha Brothers might win, but like I said, since they can't do anything in terms of high spots going outside the ring, you see kind of with their styles,
someone's going
to be limited on what they can do because they're in the cage, stopping them from doing that. So I think that's going to stop them from trying to go extensively long because it hampers on what extra stuff they can do to keep the match going. So also, I don't think it's going to be too long for a match, but I still feel like the Lucha Brothers are going to win this overall match for the titles.
I also remember that the last match that they were against each other in at the first All Out, they were in a ladder match, Keep that in perspective. Now, I don't know, and it was actually for the AAA World Tag Team titles at the time. I'm just curious, what will happen if they had a third match, on pay-per-view, and that would become what, a steel cage ladder match, like.
Yeah, what's next? You know what I mean?
Or is it going to be a steel cage, Full Metal Mayhem? Oh wait, that's TNA. Or is it going to be a steel cage TLC? Oh wait, that's WWE.
It'll be a steel cage ladder match for Judy Bagwell.
Oh God.
No, it'll be a steel cage match for Double Z's logo.
Man,
I ain't letting that being hung up on the ring.
Yeah, well, you'd have no other choice because you'd have to face me, and Elite here, and Chase. Fatal 4-way.
Right. Alrighty. So before we move into the Jericho MJF match, I just want to say, if you guys like what you see, check the description box below for the social medias for all the members in the podcast. Don't forget to leave a like, subscribe. Will help the channel grow. Any and all help is much appreciated. And we're going to get into the MJF versus Chris Jericho match.
There's another match. I want this to be. I'm sorry. I want this to be the last thing. I'm sorry. I want this to be the last match so I can keep Chase waiting. You know why? Because to mess with him. And plus, there's another match you're also forgetting.
I really wish you were my chair right now, J-Man.
There's three more. There's actually.
Wait, you want to set on him?
There's 3 matches that we have left before this one. But I definitely do want to talk about this one because this is one that I've been wanting to talk about.
That's fair enough.
So here we go. So I'm gonna do one even better. I'm gonna let Chase start off with Chris Jericho, the Demo God, Le Champion versus MJF,
the Painmaker.
The Painmaker.
What really gets my eye on this is that Jericho loses. He's talking about retiring now. Jericho.
Oh, you got.
He's been waiting to talk, and he cuts out.
You know what? That is a truly a remarkable moment here on Too Sweet Wrestling podcast history, and the views just went up.
Right? Oh God!
I know I'm a dick.
I'm getting mad.
Well, go ahead. Commit domestic abuse to your chair again.
No.
Don't throw your title.
God damn it.
Or whatever it was you threw at your wall.
I wish I could throw you in the wall right now.
Oof. I feel the heat on that.
I thought you were about to make him leave again.
No, I got shitty internet or something. No, but like I said, I mean, with this match, if Jericho loses, he's talking about retiring. Now, didn't Jericho have a match, have his last, what do you call it, like, not hardcore matches, but, what do you call it?
The 5,
The 5 Labors of Jericho?
Yeah.
Yeah, like he had his last one, like, what, a month ago or so?
About
I'm
2
telling you,
weeks ago.
That's like, what, 5 weeks worth of wrestling on Dynamite? Am I hearing that right?
Yeah, it was 5 matches.
Let me tell you something. Jericho is not a bitch. He could still go.
And one of those matches
on television.
And one of those matches was a what was it, a Full Metal Mayhem, right? No, or a hardcore match.
Hardcore.
Yeah.
But how familiar are you guys with MJF though? Like, do you see him as the guy that's going to retire?
He's better than you, and you know it.
I'm taller than him.
Hey, Diamond Up to Down is a pussy.
No, but do you guys really see MJF as the guy that's going to retire Chris Jericho?
No, I think this is going to be something similar. Not to discredit, but I think this is going to be one of those kind of buffer matches because, and this is the reason why I say this, is that Jericho's going to go over because there's no way his in-ring career is over in AEW. That's one. 2. These 2 guys have always had great matches together. I don't think I've seen one of their matches end badly. This is something similar towards like Rock and Austin, where now you go in where Rock needed that win over Austin because every time Austin faced off, Austin was always going over.
Yeah.
So
sorry,
Jericho.
about that.
So it's okay. So Jericho needs this win to finally shut up MJF. I don't think Jericho's done by any means. because, like Jericho said on Dynamite, there's stuff that he will do to get this win, and I'm
I'll be right
literally
back.
looking forward to it. All right, I'm literally looking forward to it, and I think that this is going to be a great match all around. I want to see Jericho. I don't want to see him retire. I'd be at work jamming to Judas on my headset, and I'd be singing and everything too. So definitely, I want to see him go over.
It'd be nice if we're watching the damn thing live and we can actually turn up the volume and listen to the Judas entrance. That'd be nice, but I know YouTube wants to be a bitch.
Right.
So, but like, I mean, think about it. The same night, got CM Punk's first match back and CM Jericho retire. I don't know.
Yeah.
Don't think it would happen.
I would like to see Punk versus Jericho somewhere down the line.
I pray that AEW doesn't become so predictable. I really hope not.
So do you have anything else you would like to add to that, Chase, this match?
I'm back.
Welcome back.
Well, for this match, I mean, I won't see, like, Jericho going to be retiring, not going to happen. Not on the same night Punk comes back.
There's a chance we could see Punk versus Jericho 15.
I was just saying, I would like to see that. That'll be a great match.
By the way, I need to give my thoughts on this too. I mean, like, I know MJF, because I've, seen him on, I think he was at the first All In pay-per-view in 2018 before the AEW was founded. And AEW was like influenced off of that event, so, of its foundation. But as for Maxwell Jacob Friedman, MJF, he's a very good heel, a very good bad guy. I mean, even when he gives happy birthdays to other people, do you know what he does? He pretty much, disrespects the people that he's giving a happy birthday to. He's
selling the character. Yeah.
He's doing his damnedest to sell the character, and honestly, I think that's good because that is a Jericho tactic. You know what I mean? Like, Jericho would do the same thing when he was a heel. He didn't want to sign autographs. He didn't want to take pictures with people. He had to sell it so people could hate him, And in regards to MJF's case, if he's ever a babyface or a good guy, which I highly doubt, which he shouldn't be, he would sign autographs. He would, take pictures with fans and a whole 9 yards. However, because he's playing this persona, he has to look the part.
Yeah.
That's why he's making it very hard sometimes to try and get people to boo him than being over with them because of the crowd reactions. That's why you mostly see them boo him more than anything. But I don't agree with the fact that he should be the one to end Jericho's career. Plus, look at his T-shirt design. He's actually had it where he's copying off of Jericho, like the whole Goldberg and Jericho thing in WCW, And look where it got Jericho. It got Jericho getting speared the hell out of by Bill, And then all of a sudden, you never see that happening ever again because, one, Goldberg is a very insensitive SOB. And two, we also have Jericho, who's been in AEW. He's one of the main reasons, along with Moxley and others, that put the company on the map regarding the AEW World Title. And on top of that, he shouldn't be done yet just based off, of a story, Like, in my view, Jericho, if he's going to retire, it should be when he can no longer, until he can never, do good in the ring as he once could back in, anywhere. Like, it's like with Gail Kim. Until she misses a step, she doesn't want to, wrestle anymore. You know? Same thing with Jericho. I sure, he may look out of shape, but that ain't the problem. The problem isn't the in-ring shape. The problem is the ability and the performance. That's what's more important. People nowadays are more concerned of someone's body weight and body fat. They look past that. They only look into that, but look past the performance. So in my view, Jericho, I don't see him losing this match. I see him retaining his career and continuing onward. Now, as for MJF, it's no secret. He does. I mean, if he loses, it's not going to affect him.
Exactly.
I mean, look at him last year. Sure, All Out last year was one of the worst, events last year in AEW history. But at the end of the day, he did lose against Moxley. and that didn't affect him whatsoever. Same principle goes for Darby Allin if he loses to Punk. I don't see MJF losing any stock or credibility if he loses to Jericho. Losing a match does not dictate, your position in a company. The only way you could position yourself in a company is if you're telling a story and you're actually doing it right, especially in regards to your character and your in-ring, talent.
For sure.
Especially, and mic skills too. Let's not forget them.
Before we get into Double Z's thoughts on this, I just want to appreciate everyone that's in the chat. I do want to give a couple of shout outs. What up, Miguel, Fernando, Peter, Swatsify, and anyone else that is in the chat that I have not seen. David
Martin.
3000, Brandon Martin, Scorpion, Death Drop. I want to thank you all for showing up and showing out. And
there's Jester and Jane. Jesse.
Jester and Jesse. All right. I want to thank you guys as well.
Mason. Dr. Pickles. I don't know who Dr. Pickles is, but then again, welcome.
I've seen him in the chat a few times.
Yeah, so I want to thank you all guys for showing up and making us a part of your Saturday night hangout. So, Zach, your thoughts, Chris Jericho, MJF?
I don't see this being the time to end Jericho's career yet. It's like, how often do you see in wrestling, at least nowadays within the last 10, 15 years, do you see somebody's career being put on the line and them actually losing? Like, the last instance I can easily recall, at least off the top of my head, was Ric Flair at WrestleMania 24, but then again, we know what happened afterwards with still wrestling again in TNA and everything. It's like, how often do you see in a match where somebody's career is put on the line and they lose? It's like, you saw with Triple H WrestleMania 29, his career was put on the line against Brock and he won. And I think you said also even the same thing at WrestleMania 35 against Batista, where his career was on the line, yet he won again. It's like, you don't see, it's very rare nowadays.
But there was also Michaels and Taker WrestleMania 26, the rematch from the previous WrestleMania before that, and Michaels put his career on the line while Taker put his streak on the line at the time.
Yeah, well, even so, Shawn Michaels did come back for another match afterwards.
Yeah, but still, for the most,
I don't really like counting that match. That match is dead to me. Next question.
Sweaty testicle match.
It's like, how often? It's not very often, at least within the last 10 years, at least outside of those couple of instances, where you see somebody's career put on the line and they actually have to retire. It's like, it doesn't feel like it's that time yet for Jericho. No matter what people say about his physical condition or how old he is, like, MJF could benefit a lot from being the guy to end Chris Jericho's career, but it just doesn't feel like it's that time yet for Jericho to hang it up and lose this match and retire yet. So Jericho's going to win. Whatever happens with MJF, it happens, but it's like, it's not the end of Jericho just yet.
For sure. And did you guys happen to see him on Rampage Friday night? He actually kind of looked like the Jericho from like the late WCW days. Like, he came out with the blonde hair down. He had the headband on. He had the leather jacket, the skinny jeans, and the red Jordans. I was like, look at my boy Jericho, So it's interesting. Like, it's going to be a great match. I don't, like you said, Zach, I don't think it's going to be time for him to hang it up just yet. I think he's got a couple of more years left in the tank. I know he's also, I think he's doing that cruise again, the Wrestle Cruise.
The cruise,
on the boat. Yeah. Yeah,
drink it, man.
So I'm definitely looking forward to it, and I'm hoping that Jericho does retain, because I don't think AEW would be the same without having Jericho compete. You know what I mean? I don't think they can afford to lose him, even though that they're signing all this great talent. Even the stipulation, hate to cut you off, even the stipulation where he says that he'll be at the commentary booth still, I don't feel like, I love Chris Jericho on commentary, like as a color commentator, but at the same time, I kind of consider him better in the ring from time to time, Exactly.
I don't consider him being as a commentator full time just yet. Exactly.
So this is a match. It just started. It just got added about 2 weeks ago, and we're talking about moving on to the TNT Championship match. Miro defending against Eddie Kingston. What are your guys?
Can I go first?
Go ahead.
Miro is not losing the title, and I'm going to explain why. It's not right to kill someone else's momentum when they're already, on a dominating role, as it is. Miro losing the TNT Championship might be a shocker if he loses it to Eddie Kingston. Don't get me wrong, I don't have anything against Eddie Kingston, and yes, I have made a joke before about his, the Sparklers of Doom thing, but that's besides the point. The point is, in regards to, this match, Miro has a lot more to gain out of this because he needs the TNT title longer if he's ever to hope to, become an AEW World Champion. Because to me, the TNT title to him is a stepping stone, but at least he's there. And on top of that, he shows tremendous fashion as a dominating competitor, and he showcases why, he's a badass. And why that WWE held him back for so long, he's off his leash. He needs to keep the title longer in order to legitimately cement his status as a top badass, competitor in All Elite Wrestling. Otherwise, the title reign would have been all for nothing. Now, Eddie Kingston, I respect him. He's done a lot. I know I've joked around with the Sparklers of Doom thing, but there have been things he's done in the past regards to hardcore variants, like whether it was him and Moxley or that before, when he was in CZW and all that. But I don't think it's time for Kingston to win a title just yet. I mean, not at this time, because this is a big match for Miro, even though it's not really all talked about or important. But at the end of the day, being on a pay-per-view is important. At the very least, even being booked in a match. So I don't see Miro losing the title, not even maybe till a Full Gear, but not here at All Out tomorrow.
Anyone else want to weigh in?
I have to watch a little bit more of his matches before I can give a full
On Miro or
on Miro.
Kingston? Okay.
So.
Yeah, I think, isn't this one of the most significant things that Miro has done in AEW since his debut so far, if memory serves me right?
Well, other than being, there for Kip Sabian with his wedding, with Penelope Ford, and then having rivalry with best friends and all that. Being the TNT champion is like a huge, thing that he's done ever since he's came to, AEW since joining last year.
Because it's like, this feels like this is the period where he's finally reestablishing his own name, because like you mentioned just a bit ago, J-Man, like WWE down the shitter he went. I think it was all because of a haircut that he got against their permission. The next thing you know, it's just like, oh, his wife is a freaking slut and getting fucked by a big black man with a giant black man cock who used to constantly bend over around the time of WrestleMania 35 showing us his ass for some damn reason. It's like, this is this chance to finally, this has been helping reestablish him to the point where it feels like he's going to benefit the most, keeping the championship against Eddie Kingston, who I honestly don't know much about. So it's like, this is going to mean more to Miro than it will for Eddie, because like I said, he's trying to reestablish himself after all the damage that WWE did, because Miro's no slouch. Like, you look at even when his early WWE run, he was dominant, and he looks like a dominant guy, yet WWE did not really showcase that because of petty fucking reasons. So it feels like this is his chance to start still getting built up and everything. Miro needs this win more than Eddie does at this moment. Nothing against Eddie, but this is more of a thing for Miro at this point.
By the way, you spell Lana backwards, what do you get?
Anal.
Zach would know all about that. No, I'm joking.
I knows all about that for Bobby Lashley.
So
it's like, the only good thing I can at least say with Miro's end time within WWE, at least one segment I enjoyed. There's that one segment he had with Lana on Raw. She's like, all he ever wanted from me was sex. And then he was just looking at her. He's like, can you blame me? It's like, that's the most true thing you can say.
It's like, what's so wrong about that?
Yeah, exactly. You're hot. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
God damn.
It's like, she's been sexualized for years. She's always been portrayed as a slut. It's like, oh, she's suddenly with Dolph. Now she's getting banged by Bobby Lashley.
Oh, God damn it. Brock Lesnar was the one that took over.
That's funny.
So my thing is, Miro has to win because to continue his dominant role. Now, I think this match should definitely push Miro to the limits because no one's been able to actually push him to his full length potential in AEW. As much as anyone would like to argue, it's fact. I think Kingston will be that stepping stone for Miro. Push him, and I say this match has to go hard because I want this match to be Miro's biggest test to date. I want it to be where he has to win at any cost to keep that title. And the reason is because it will then continue his dominance. I mean, this fucking guy, excuse my language, came out to WrestleMania in a fucking tank. I'm telling you, was one of the greatest fucking WrestleMania entrances I've ever seen. That top Shawn Michaels coming from the rafters at WrestleMania 12. Okay, John Cena ripping back and forth in the Mustang at WrestleMania 23. Just anything. Triple H's Terminator entrance, whatever. The fucking tank was one of the greatest WrestleMania entrances ever. It even still tops Daniel Bryan's entrance from his return at WrestleMania a couple of years ago. So he, unfortunately, I think from that match on was the slow decline of the Rusev character. He never fully established himself after that. Yeah, he was still dominant. He still had some great matches, but he was never taken seriously beyond that point. Once he lost to John Cena and lost that United States Championship, that was it. And I'm hoping that AEW will continue what they're doing with him, because I've always been a Rusev. I've always been a Rusev / Miro fan. I've always been a fan. I liked him. I didn't like what he was doing when he first got into AEW as far as gimmick, but I like the fact is that when he got into the ring, it was all game. It was all serious. It was all work.
He even continued the match, even despite almost injuring his knee at one point. And dude, this guy's good. And on top of that, I want to add in, even though he would win the U.S. title a couple times, it doesn't change the fact that WWE dropped the ball with him on numerous occasions, especially that one time. That one time when he faced, that was over, but still, at the end of the day, the one thing that really downgraded him was the fact that he lost his one and only shot at the WWE Championship against AJ Styles.
Yeah.
And also, one thing to still remember about this guy, he's one of the few people to technically defeat John Cena via submission because of that match they had at Fastlane in 2015, even though he had to kick Cena in the dick first before putting him in the accolade. But he's still one of the very few people to actually have that accolade on his career, saying he technically won by submission over this guy who's all about never give up, even though it's technically like a pass-out submission, but still submission nonetheless.
I'm still like CC.
And I like that. And I like that pun. The accolade. Yeah, that's not what you did there. I see you, sir.
That's impromptu, I swear.
What were you saying, Chase?
No, I said it would have been better seeing Cena tap out a little bit more, because he did use to tap out, but then.
By the way, I want to point this out that Rusev never said I quit. He may have said I give up in Bulgarian, but he never said I quit in Bulgarian.
True.
The point of an I quit match is that you have to say I quit, and it doesn't matter if it's in English or in Bulgarian. Those that has to happen. It's not like I give up. Oh, your mother.
Yeah, but it's like, what did he even say when he was getting freaking chained up? It's like, like it was almost like gibberish or whatever he's saying in Bulgarian, just going on a rant. Before I was like, he quit. It's like, are you sure? I couldn't understand a damn word he was saying.
Yeah. So I'm thinking this is gonna be a heavy hitting match. It has to be. It needs to be. And that's all I got to say.
There's like two to maybe three more matches, I belive, because we got to count the pre-show too.
Yeah, so we have the two women's matches and then the pre-show. So let's talk about the pre-show real quick. I know Peter mentioned it. It's the Best Friends and Jurassic Express versus the Hardy Family Office. I gotta go with my boys, the Jurassic Express and Best Friends, just because as much as I love Matt Hardy and the Hardy office. I'm a more of a Jungle Boy fan and Best Friends fan. So yeah, it's gonna be a good match though for sure.
I'd have to go with the Hardy office, and here's the reason why. It'll give Oh, hello Jay. That's Jay in the live chat.
Hey, Jay.
The reason why I choose the Hardy office, the Hardy family office, is because this could give Orange Cassidy a bit motivation to want to beat Matt Hardy more at this coming AEW Elevation on Monday, because he did lay out that challenge for him. I was hoping they would have it on pay-per-view, but then I realized I understand why. But at the end of the day, plus Matt Hardy kind of deserves a little bit better after what happened last year's All Out, which
hey, what's going on, Tim?
Because it was horrendous for last year for Matt. So this should be a time where Matt should have his team win after that horrific incident last year.
Zach?
I don't know. This could go either way. I mean, the Hardy family office could use a big win, like J-Man was saying about the whole thing with Matt Hardy and Orange Cassidy. But also, it could also be the babyfaces winning just to try to get the crowd hyped up and get them ready going into the pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Because you always want to get a hot start. But it's
they're going to get hyped up regardless.
Oh, yeah.
Usually
there's going to be some drunk people in that crowd and babies being made afterwards.
It's yay, good people won, hooray! So I don't know who to choose for this one. Maybe the Hardy family office. But one also big advice to Matt Hardy, from now on when you do this, just remember to keep your pointer and middle fingers kept apart, because otherwise we know the after effects.
2 in the pink, 1 in the stink.
And then next thing you know, your hair ended up catching on fire again on Twitch.
Then I feel itch. Yeah, definitely I agree. I agree with all of you guys.
Chase hasn't said nothing.
I'm listening right now.
Who do you pick? You pick Best Friends and the Jurassic Express or the Hardy family office. You pick one, and then we move on to the next match.
I'll say Private Party, but
Private Party is a.
Oh, I don't have a banner made for that because I totally forgot that was on the card. I mean, on the buy-in.
These tag matches, like I said, a lot of these guys I haven't really seen yet.
Do you have the Casino Battle Royal and the AEW Women's title matches for banners?
Yes.
Good.
And I also have all the women that are going to be participating in it on the banner.
You said earlier about, we talked about this before we went live, about buying the pay-per-view. We could watch it on our computer.
Yep. Fight TV and then Bleacher, I guess, right?
Okay.
The fight as an FITE, and
So
but anyway,
we'll get into the 21 women casino battle royal. This is, I guess, is going to be for a future women's championship match.
my God, these names.
I'm really glad that I got tomorrow off so I can actually do some more watching and studying on these wrestlers.
It's really hard.
I don't know.
It's really hard to choose. However, me and Brandon, when we were doing our predictions last night regarding after we watched Rampage, and you could actually catch that all in one video on live stream, of course. Me and him are in agreement with regards to Jade Cargill winning the match, because Jade Cargill, as of late, has been dominant in the women's division. She's been in the business for like 6 months, literally 6 months. And on top of that, they're building her into being, an alpha female. And the one thing they could do, sure, they could eliminate her, but still that wouldn't affect her win-loss record. But if anyone who could win this match in regards to being on a roll, I'd have to go with Jade winning it, because she could get a lot more to gain from this than any other woman in there. Even if there's a wild card that could be a surprise signee for the company, it wouldn't change the fact that Jade Cargill, she's bound to be women's champion one day, but I would say this would benefit her more than anything. So keep her on a dominating role. So I'd just pick Jade Cargill for that.
My prediction for this match is, I'm gonna be honest. I'm just looking for some good content out of this match. To be honest, some good action. I was actually surprised to see Abaddon going to be a part of it, because I know she's over with Impact. So I was actually interested to. I was actually surprised to see her in there. But this can go either way for me, because I'm still learning a lot of the women in AEW. So to me, it can go either way.
But if you had to pick one,
if I had to pick one, I would probably have to go with former women's champion Rio, just because I do know her, and I actually have her figure, so I'd probably have to go with her.
Interesting.
21 women.
And then I think there's going to be more too, if I'm not mistaken. I think they might have more, because I don't know if this is all 21 names.
There's only one name left to be announced, and it's a wild card.
So I'm thinking it can either be. I was talking with my buddy, my manager, who's like a diehard wrestling fan, and he gets to hang out with some of the wrestlers here and there. I was thinking April Brooks, Punk's wife. Just maybe she could be like a manager of some sort. And then I was also
Punk's
thinking,
wife?
Yeah, Punk's wife. Yep.
Didn't I already get debunked that CM Punk's wife isn't coming to AEW?
Well, it's been debunked that she's never going to wrestle again because of her neck.
Yeah, but she could still, if they play it right, if they play it right, she can come out, maybe throw somebody over, and then maybe get tossed out like immediately after, just to get an initial reaction out of the crowd, like a holy shit moment for that. But then I was also thinking, what better way to bring in CJ, Rusev's wife, Miro's wife, bring her in.
The one who made Nia Jax go like, my butt,
my whole,
and then put her through a table.
For 5 weeks straight. I was thinking maybe something like that. I was surprised when I first was setting up the banners earlier in the week. I was actually surprised, because I thought that there was going to be, when I saw like 12 names that were to be announced, I was like, I wonder if like the Iconics will be a part of that, because I know that they're still looking at companies to sign with. So I was like, oh, maybe they, I was thinking maybe that would be interesting.
Well, it's obvious. I know where Peyton Royce, would sign with.
Yep, her man is over here in AEW, Mr. Chairman of the board.
Well, Miro, is he still doing YouTube videos as well, or did he quit after he?
No, I think he's still doing YouTube vids.
Wait, Sean Spears? I thought that was Stan. Like that got super kicked.
Yeah.
I just kicked Stan.
All right, and then the last match. Oh, you guys have any predictions? Because I don't think Zach gave his prediction on this match.
I barely know that many of these names. Like, I know who Nyla Rose is. Thunder Rosa rings a bell. I've seen who the bunny is. I gotta say at least one thing. Tay Conti there, she's freaking hot as hell. Like, holy shit.
Oh yeah, she is.
Like, my
God. I like when she comes up and she bounces around.
Like, I've seen her photos, like, her in a bikini. It's like, my God, this woman's a goddess. That, whoever that D.M.D woman is, I actually just checked her wiki page. She got the exact same last name as me, somehow. I don't know if it's pronounced the same way, but it's like, I've never heard of this woman before. I think she's had some WWE stuff. I know who Rio is, but it's like, I don't really have a prediction, just because, like, I don't know who most of these people are. It's like, I don't know Penelope Ford, I don't know Red Velvet or Julia Hart, Big Swole, whatever that is. The Japanese women are most of these at this point.
But if you had to pick one,
that's just the thing. I can't choose. Is like, I don't know who's really on a roll or anything. It's like, I don't know who most of these women are. All I know is Tay Conti's hot. That's all I freaking know.
So you automatically pick Tay Conti.
I'm thinking with the wrong head right now.
So you're automatically choosing Tay Conti. We'll pick you. That'll be an
Sure, why
automatic
not?
pick.
Next, that's who I choose to be in my bed next.
Whoever has the bigger boobs, that's his decision.
There he goes. There he goes. Double
Plus
Z
he's out of
TV
Coca-Cola,
has
so-
left the building.
Double Z has exit stage right.
Oh, now
And he's coming for the Rumble.
Oh, I
Kris
knew he
just
was
need to
going
go
to
to
get some Coke. I knew
You got
he's always
some
hooked
Coke.
on
The
Coke.
beverage. So so Chase, you want to weigh in on this match? Because then we're going to get into the women's championship match.
But do you have a pick for the Battle Royal?
With those, I mean, like I said, most of these people I don't even know. So I'm looking forward to watching it, that's for sure.
And you do well, if you had
Yeah.
to pick one, if it's someone you know, just pick it and then we can move on.
I'm not going to bullshit you. I couldn't say.
Which one of these names do you know off the Battle Royal?
Oh, the Battle Royal.
Well, I mean, if you watch NXT, you should know Tay Conti.
I haven't really watched much NXT in a long time.
NXT's dead.
Like, you gotta understand, like, wrestling has been hard to watch for me for quite a while now. I'm barely getting into AEW and learning all these characters and watching their matches. I've been doing, tomorrow I'm going to be watching, some more past matches because it's going to be my day off.
Side note, Zach, you remember when we used to play GTA? And we
Yeah.
used to be like, something, 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 and then it died. And NXT was great.
God, that shit.
NXT was great, and then it died.
I died. Come on, why you got
Oh, remember that fake article that I shared of, they were hiring Jim Cornette for NXT and shit?
Yeah.
Oh,
No,
okay,
Jim
okay,
Cornette
yes.
Jim Cornette and Vince Russo.
Yeah, Vince Russo for WWE and Jim Cornette for NXT.
I thought they would be in the same line of area, like in the same brand.
That's what the article thing said. And no, it wasn't real, people.
All right, so
If it was real, then that would be nuts.
So you
Again,
have
it's
no
kayfabe news.
No, but what happens if
What if it was real? What if it was?
This isn't TNA.
what if
don't care.
What if somehow Vince Russo gets into AEW?
Oh, God.
It'd be the end of AEW as we know it.
God forbid, like in the next year, people are going to ask, like, "Hey, why was Vince Russo the heavyweight
You're
champion?"
ready to see a bunch of pole matches.
Vince Russo riding for AEW. What the fuck?
No, because then we'll get Tay Conti on a pole match.
I'll participate there. I don't give a damn if I'm not part of the match or even a legal participant.
We'll get freaking all that shit, the freaking Jerry Springer kind of stuff.
Alrighty, so we're gonna move on to the AEW Women's Championship match since Chase doesn't know who he wants to choose because he doesn't because he has to watch a little more.
I'm not trying to enforce choices with people, but you know what? I'll take back what I said regards to, Zach's pick because that way he doesn't, put pressure on him too. I mean, because he's in, because he's thinking with his head downstairs about Tay Conti.
You're lucky Zach's hot dog
That's
Coke.
normally what head I use nowadays.
You admitted it on stream.
I had
Like,
an
we're in a
erection.
pandemic. What choice does he have?
So, this match, I'll say one thing is Britt Baker's been on a friggin' tremendous roll over the last year. She's had that hardcore match a couple of months back, which caught my attention. Her gimmick is great. Her character, I should say, is great. I like the whole D.M.D. I love that shit. I eat that up every week when she does it.
Yeah, well, the problem is you can't eat it up if she's got you in her practice.
I can still bite.
No, you wouldn't. You'd be numb.
Don't swallow
from,
her tools.
Yeah, like blockhead. If anyone doesn't know what I'm talking about, I'll just that's another story for another time.
Okay, so with this match, I just got to see Statlander actually wrestle for the first time last week, or last night, I should say.
He's pretty good.
So She is pretty good, and I have to say, this is a toss-up for me. It can go either way. I think Britt Baker is going to continue her momentum, because I just don't see Statlander being that one right now to take the title, just because the fact is that Britt is so over. So
that's another problem right there. But you can continue. I'll give my thoughts after the whole over thing.
Yeah, so it's like she's like, she's hyped up. She's got, right now she's at the top of her game. Could she go to the next level? For sure. I know there's probably another level there that she hasn't tapped into yet. And I just don't see Statlander being the one to take the title right now. Maybe down the line, but like right now, in the midst of of Britt's rise, I don't think it's going to be right now.
Now, my thoughts of her being over, I got no problem with that. I think the biggest issue is the fact that when you're trying to portray a heel, like the bad, guy or girl or villain per se in wrestling, your job is to make sure that the crowd is booing you.
Yeah.
Yes, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania is an exception because after all, if this is Britt Baker's hometown, they're gonna cheer her no matter what. And they booed the hell out of Red Velvet, which it is to be expected. I mean, what do you expect? I mean, if you're going to be facing a hometown hero and it's someone who's been wrestling for years, then yes, you're going to get booed. It's like but however, with John Cena, it was a different story everywhere he went. There was either a mixed reaction or it was a hostile crowd.
Yeah.
I mean, but however, with this worst case scenario with Britt Baker, the more they try to make her as a heel, the more it's difficult to try and get some people to boo her. I just explained this with MJF. He tries to act like a prick, all the time. If he's in real life, like he's trying to maintain his character. If Britt were to do the same exact thing, she could probably do something. But then again, I could understand that she wouldn't get that much customers for her practice. But still, having that, but also being professional wrestling is two totally different things. So the only thing I could advise is that she act more legit as a, more of a heel and try to get booed in other territories, even if it isn't in Pittsburgh. But I do agree.
I'm still gonna love her. I'm still gonna love her. Sorry.
But I will agree with that. It's not Kris Statlander's time to take the title just yet because Britt Baker has been on a roll. She has been, way more noticed in AEW than any other woman on the roster. And on top of that, she could actually put the women's division more on the map for AEW than Hikaru Shida could, or Nyla Rose, or Riho. I mean, that's just how I see it. But I do question the mentality of how she portrays herself, as a heel. Because if you have people, like putting that D.M.D chant there, I'm sorry, like your job is to be hated, not put over.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's the same thing as it would if you could say her boyfriend, her man, and Adam Cole, is that he was a heel. Okay. He's heel, and he still gets cheered.
Yeah, I understand that, but the difference is the fact that's the problem with wrestling heels nowadays. They keep going on this mentality where they need a certain catchphrase or a certain, wording, and then if the people start following it, they're gonna eat it up. They're gonna fall for that trap, and that's the one thing that the heels are not supposed to do. Granted, I got no problem with a heel being over. I only have a problem with if they're gonna do it for the right reasons, if they're gonna make them into a face. Now, Britt Baker, she's not a face. She used to be, but not anymore. And she looks good as a bad guy or girl, whatever you want to call her at this point, as a heel. But at the end of the day, it'll only take a while before it could get used to, before she, is a real full-fledged heel champion. Now, if she's a baby face or whatever, it could have been more believable. In regards to the people following that directive, like D.M.D,
Guys, Zach, Chase.
But I just pick Britt for the win to retain.
Sure. I agree with you.
I mean, Kris Statlander will get the women's title. Kris Statlander will win the title someday. I just don't think it should be now. Now I know a friend of mine, Lucas. He'd automatically go for Kris Statlander because he's he loves Kris Statlander. He wants to see that happen, but I don't see it happening.
Yeah, I don't see it. Not right now, at least. She'll win it
Yeah.
at one point, but not. I don't think not right now. It's too early for her.
I support Britt all the way. Sorry. I don't care for Kris.
I mean, I'm not bashing you or the crowd. I'm just making logical sense in regards to, strategies within how to get the crowd, to hate your guts, or to get them to love you if you don't have to be shaking hands, high-fiving or kissing babies, that deal.
I mean, I think in this day and age, I mean, like a heel isn't like how it was back in like the late 90s, early 2000s, where like you had a heel, if you were being cheered, the heel would acknowledge it and be like, hey, no. Like with The Rock, like when he would do his shtick and he'd be like, hey, it's not sing along with the great one. Like he's the only one to ever turn it around and flip back onto the crowd. Like he was the only one. I don't think I've ever seen anyone do it. If I could be wrong, but like I know for a fact that The Rock that's what made The Rock so great, because he knew what was right and what was wrong, and he corrected it right then and there. This isn't sing along with the great one or whatever, and he would like flip
Or
it back
sing
on
along
the
with
crowd.
The Rock.
Yeah. So like I think that's what like a lot of heels don't necessarily understand. But then again, like you said, it comes down to catchphrases and stuff like that. Like, but then again, I mean,
We can see better heels in AEW than WWE.
well, yeah, that too. But like again, like I said, I mean, if they have someone, if someone is a heel in WWE, regardless if they're a heel or a good guy before they got there,
Well, you're limited to what you can do as a heel.
yeah, you're limited to what you can do, of course. But what I'm saying is, like when it comes to the whole cheering and shit like that, it's like the whole like with Adam Cole, like I was saying with the whole Adam Cole Bebe thing, is like he was doing that for the longest time. So it's just like it just caught on and people enjoy
No,
it.
but
whether he-
another
you know?
important question though, like we know WWE uses that fake cheering sound and shit. to
Well, I
block
know
out
they
the
were
boo.
doing it. I know they were doing it for the. I know they were doing it.
They did it
for,
multiple times, even when the Reigns and Undertaker thing happened.
Yeah, they were. I know they were doing it for the when they were in the Thunderdome.
But
I don't know if they're still doing
the
it
question
now.
is, AEW doesn't do that shit, do they?
No.
Good. WWE is too much PG and fake shit. Like that's so. I don't want AEW to end up the same as those motherfuckers.
No, but Zach, do you have a
Zach's too high on coke to respond.
do you have a
I'm
thought?
staring at a shitload of photos of Tate right now.
I look at your face, you look at the thing like, oh God, what have I done to myself?
Is that your mom right there?
Where?
The fuck?
I was just being funny, man. I was trying to make it funny as if she was walking in on you, looking at
No, I don't even live with my mom.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that either way, but unless of course there is a
We know who you're about to mean, a certain bald-headed boy.
I wasn't referring to that.
I thought you were going to refer to somebody we've had a
I
history
mean, I
with.
still live with my parents, and I don't see anything wrong with that. I mean, I live here for for reasons that I had to tell you personally.
Oh shit! I mentioned that
You never
bald-headed
told
boy.
me, but I'm not gonna
God.
ask. I won't. That's not my business.
I live at home. I live at home with my parents only because when I moved back from Ohio, I just moved back in with my parents. But I do have plans on moving out. But like right now, I'm just pretty much saving my money. So when I do move out, I have money to move and shit like that. But
Take advantage of all these jobs that are increasing the wages and stuff like that.
yeah. So Zach, you want to weigh in, Britt or Kris?
I probably have to say Britt. I honestly don't know anything about Kris Statlander at all. So it's like, it just seems like Britt would probably be the safer bet to go upon in terms of her prediction. Just
Stick with mine. Just
taking that
go
alone.
with Britt. She's hotter.
Alrighty. So, what do you guys think of the overall pay-per-view? Do you think it's going to be a 5-star? Do you think it's going to be, what do you guys think?
The match of the pay-per-view.
When I rate a pay-per-view, I go with 10 sometimes with stars when it comes to ratings. Now matches, I only do 5.
It's only been a few times where we did like a 5-star thing. But throughout the years, we've always done like a 1 out of 10.
Wait, so what do you think it's going to be for the pay-per-view? 1 out of 10.
I'm gonna say at least an 8 because Punk's first match back in 7 years, so I'm really confident it's gonna be a good one. Hopefully nothing screws that up. And then with the other matches, I'm looking forward to see what happens.
I think it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be an 8 out of 10 as well, only because it's a stacked card. You don't know how long the Young Bucks match is gonna be, and then I take a point away because the QT Marshall match, because I don't think that needed to be on the main card. That could have been part of the buy-in. But other than that, that's just that's what I look at it. But it's a stacked card. It should be an amazing show.
Sure. There's a lot of people that are going to be buying this pay-per-view. And here's the thing. How many pay-per-views are in AEW? Like 12 a year? 12
No,
a year?
I think they got like maybe like 9 or 10.
9
I don't think they don't have one every. They don't. I think it's like every other month.
See, more people are interested in buying this, and like the AEW pay-per-views. Even with WWE, like their pay-per-view or whatever, they got that $5 a month now on that shit. And like,
well, to watch the pay-per-views live as it's happening, you have to have the plus. You have to have the $9.99 a month plus.
Okay. What, on WWE or AEW?
For WWE on the Peacock, if you pay $4.99 a month for the Peacock basic,
what I'm saying is that people are still more interested in paying for that $50 thing than doing this whole fucking $5 or $10 a month.
Well, yeah, because if you really think about it, you're paying $120 a year to watch WWE.
Yeah.
Unless you because I don't think they have a $60 a year subscription. Like if you pay for the year all outright for like $60 for the year. I don't think Peacock has that. I think you have no choice but to pay.
People are really wanting to pay all these extra things every month. Like when WWE Network came out, they were shoving it down our throats. It's like, yeah, I get it's only $9.99 a month. And you still got Hulu, Netflix, all this stuff. People like freaking Omega was like, talked about how he could barely afford that, or he could barely afford Hulu to watch Raw. He couldn't afford to be paying this thing every month, like this bill along with it. Paying like a one-time thing, like the pay-per-views. I'm glad it still exists with AEW, but I don't know.
I just want to say this because we're going to be wrapping this video up. Brian, I'm letting you know right now, if you're going to be in the chat, be on your best behavior. Don't come in here just to troll Double Z, J-Man, and Chase, because they're a part of my stream and part of the podcast as a group. So if you're gonna come in here and act a fool, I will have J-Man put you in timeout or have you banned from the channel. Okay, I'm being nice about it because we've had a chill stream all night. We have some good vibes. We had some good comments in the chat box. So if you're gonna be in here messing around and screwing around to try to get a rise, you picked the wrong channel. Because I've given you no reason to come at me. And you need to cut the shit. I'm asking you nicely. Who's going to be in here, talk wrestling, and keep it wrestling related only.
Yeah, we said nothing negative about you, Brian, throughout this whole thing. We haven't even been thinking about you. It's all been about AEW and tomorrow's event. September 5th.
Yes. Some AEW All Out.
This year is just flying by.
Yeah, I know, right?
It's
Next thing you know, it's going to be like dun 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 dun.
But tomorrow I'm just gonna take the time to rest. I'm gonna watch some AEW matches before the pay-per-view, and
I'm gonna probably try to watch the replay tomorrow when I get out. But so what do you guys? So let's continue on overall aspect of the show.
My thoughts of the overall aspect of the show. Hang on a second. There. Now, my overall aspect of the show is it will probably be pay-per-view of the year, and there's no way wrestling Observer newsletter or Pro Wrestling Illustrated could deny that. And I believe Punk and Allin will be the main event and steal the show and send home the fans, being happy and all that. But other than that, I think this match, the event and the matches in general, it's well done. The only thing that could make it worse is if it were like last year's AEW All Out, which was, god awful.
I don't think it's going to be that as bad as that one because I think
I think it's going to be an improvement and a much better show than last year. So there's no way it can be derailed this year.
This one should be like my first AEW pay-per-view.
I've watched a couple over the last couple of months, and like I said, I've been trying to get back. I've been trying to get into it, and I find myself getting into wrestling again because of AEW. I still watch I still watch their events. I still watch their pay-per-views and stuff like that, and Monday Night Raw and SmackDown. But I like the fact that we have an alternative now, and that we actually that focuses on the wrestling. Yeah, there's characters and there's characters and stuff like that. Some things you kind of fruity in here and there, but I'm glad that I'm actually getting more into AEW than I was before. So I'm definitely looking forward to checking out more.
Watching the shows like Rampage is like the show's only like an hour, but that's like a good thing. That way we have time to do other stuff. That 1 hour we get to watch good wrestling and like I said, we're not as free to watch as much wrestling as we used to.
Yeah, it's not like when we were home as kids on a Sunday night. You know what I mean? It's like, so it sucks. Like I think from now on, like when I know there's going to be AEW pay-per-views and stuff, I might have to request the Sunday off so I can watch it. But Peter says that Bryan will end the show, meaning Daniel Bryan or Bryan Danielson. They need something big to end the show as a cliffhanger. So maybe, they did say DB was going to be at All Out. They just didn't know at what, or BD. Yeah, they don't know exactly how they're going to utilize him, but he's supposed to be there. Adam Cole wasn't announced, but they don't. It hasn't. I don't even think there's been. I don't think there's been any information that he actually signed. There was just comments saying that they offered him a deal, but there was nothing that he signed it or anything like that.
Well, with his girlfriend being there, he's going to be motivated to go there more than any other place right now.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we'll see what happens. Because like I said, again, I don't know. WWE offered him a big contract, $1 million contract. I think that's like the biggest that they've ever offered.
For how many years, though?
Yeah, I don't know.
The deal.
It could have been $1 million for 1 year.
When I look at Bryan Danielson, Daniel Bryan, whatever you want to call him, money isn't everything to him. It's more of the passion within the business rather than just the money. And exactly. I agree fully on that. Yes, money's a good thing, but at the end of the day, it's not always important. It's a matter of, your legacy within a company and or industry that's well worth it, especially the stories you tell within inside and outside of the ring.
It's like, has there ever, I haven't checked the dirt sheets in a while. Was it ever released the reason why Daniel Bryan chose to leave WWE this year?
He probably might talk about later on if he signs with AEW.
Because I have not heard any information like what his motivation would be for leaving. It's like he main evented WrestleMania this year, and then shortly afterwards, he still let his contract expire. So it's like something had to have demotivated him from staying there. But it's like I haven't heard or read anything.
Well, maybe it's the fact that he didn't become champion.
Because it's like I think I heard about Adam Cole leaving, saying one of the reasons maybe why he also left was because WWE didn't want him doing Twitch anymore because of their stance with that platform, and him not wanting to be there so he can continue being on Twitch might have been a reason why he turned down that $1 million contract offer that he was given.
Well, yeah, but also the thing is, he could still do the NXT. He could still do the Twitch thing because, they're in Florida. They don't travel. They haven't gone back to doing house shows yet. So they don't travel for NXT. It stays at the It stays at the what is it now? It's not the performance center.
It's still the performance center. They only call it the Capital Wrestling Center.
Oh,
You know.
okay, so they're still at the performance center. So I mean, it's not like they're going anywhere. So he could still do it. But
Yeah, but it's
now
like-
I think it's now with them going back to taping NXT again. So I don't know. I don't know how that would have worked out. But if he goes to AEW, he definitely is not going to have any time to do anything.
Yeah, but it's like, I think that was still probably like one of the main factors. Like, ever since WWE started having that stance against their talent using these platforms and everything, really kind of demotivated people. Like, the one person I know who should at least still be able to stay on Twitch and everything is Paige, because she's really not doing anything else. It's like, she's not being a manager or a general manager or even wrestling or anything. So it's like, it gives her something to do on the side if she's not wrestling anymore. And Adam Cole doing it as a side hobby, and then the company cracking down on this shit for whatever reason.
Couldn't Paige just do OnlyFans instead?
Well, then everybody's going to be going freaking bankrupt, investing all their money to freaking sign up for OnlyFans and tipping her and everything.
Hey,
so
she's making money.
you're going to make a bunch of horny-ass motherfuckers getting broke.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, but still, you want people to go bankrupt during a time where we're still recovering from a pandemic by giving all their money to Paige because they want to see her naked?
Hey, I mean, if you want to think with
your dick, want to see her for free, they can see her leak stuff.
Oh, still.
Well,
I know she does make one. I know Zach's going to buy it, and he's going to go broke and then ask me for money.
I ain't asking you for money. Fuck that.
I'm joking.
I ain't asking you for shit.
So yeah, so.
But in reality, I'd help you out, Zach, if you needed help with something.
So yeah, I'm hoping. I'm curious to see what's going to happen tomorrow night when the show ends, because I know a lot of their big pay-per-views have had something big happen, like Double or Nothing at that one night was Moxley's debut when he attacked Omega. So let's see. I mean, who knows? Maybe someone will come out and attack Omega again.
I believe Bryan and Danielson will be there tomorrow night.
I want to see that running knee to the face.
You're doing a live reaction show on your channel, J-Man?
Yeah, there is. There's going to be a live reaction stream, on my channel tomorrow. I don't know if the buy-in pre-show is going to be before the pay-per-view, but I do know that I will be hosting that. And after I do that, that will, like, after the show, all my free StreamYard hours will be done until it comes back. All those StreamYard hours will come back the next day.
Hey Lee, are you on the unlimited plan or what?
Hey, I can screw with time. So
I have I pay the $20 a month.
Okay.
Where's that Majora's Mask?
I don't know.
So while I'm doing the show, I'm just gonna mute myself like while Jericho's entrance plays, because I don't want to mute that.
So, all right, guys. So we're gonna get ready to start closing it out here. I do want to appreciate everyone who came to check us out tonight. We will be back 2 weeks from tonight. This is going to be a every 2 week thing. It's going to be twice a month. The Too Sweet Wrestling Podcast. Make sure you guys go down to the description box below. We have all the socials listed to all the members' social media accounts and YouTube channels. Make sure you go ahead and you leave a like and subscribe over there. Guys, do you have anything you want to say before we close out the video tonight?
All I gotta say is my usual outro. If you like this, give it a thumbs up. If you miss your chance at live chat, comment down below and give your thoughts and opinions in regards to AEW All Out. And also be sure to subscribe to EliteJC TV and hit the notification bell whenever you see him do a video or a live stream like this one at all times. Same goes for Chase and Double Z TV and yours truly, JMANzLegit. I will be doing a live reaction stream to AEW All Out 2021, which will be probably an hour. It will start an hour before the event itself starts at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And with that all being said, thank you for tuning into the first episode of the Too Sweet Wrestling Podcast. And God bless you all. Have a great night and stay healthy for an even better day tomorrow. And enjoy All Out if you're able to afford it now. You excuse us. We have other things to do, and it has nothing to do with hiding our faces like Chase is doing.
For God's sake.
Zach, do you have
There's
anything
my face
to say?
right here.
anything to say to before we head out?
Yeah, always remember, folks, like a vital life lesson, there's a complete difference between a vagina and an asshole. So be careful which hole you put it in.
And when in doubt, pull out.
That's what I always say.
Unless you're good at slipping through the cracks.
And never hate masturbate.
All right, that's another good point. That's what I always go to.
All right,
Masturbate while he's on coke.
Damn right.
It's such good shit, damn it.
Oh, damn, I love it.
Oh, there was a certain video I thought we could that involves Vince McMahon, but we'll save it as an intro for another time.
Alrighty. So you have anything to say, Chase, before we head out?
No, I just want to thank you for having me on the show, and I don't think we're making this thing. We got the 2 titles. Like, God damn it, I don't have it. I only got.
Get yours out.
I only got this one right now.
Pull it out.
Pull it out. That's so weird. So yeah.
We'd actually be, if the WWE title was still on SmackDown, and the way Elite had his title, we could have been we were representing the SmackDown brand.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, guys, we're going to go ahead. We're going to end the broadcast here. We're going to stay in the chat for just a little bit and talk off stream. So, guys, like always, my closing. If you guys like what you saw, leave a comment in the comment box below. Don't forget to click. Why? Messed up my outro.
All YouTube links will be in the description of this video and our social media links.
We're gonna take 2. So, if you like what you see, click the like, click the notification. Make sure you guys subscribe for more content. And like always, I want to thank you for being Too Sweet, All Elite, and we'll catch you in 2 weeks for the episode 2 Too Sweet Wrestling Podcast.